What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I am Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
This week, the quest continues. The voyage through the Twilight hellscape. We're
Zone?
beyond the halfway point, and we're beginning to see daybreak. I mean, dawnbreak, I guess, but like we're able to see the end of the tunnel because we are doing Twilight Part 4, whatever, Breaking Dawn.
We can see
part one.
the light at the end of the tunnel, the light coming from the breaking dawn.
Exactly.
The Twilight?
Yeah.
The Twilight from the end
No,
of the tunnel?
Twilight's the opposite. Twilight is when the sun go down.
It's the name of the damn series.
Breaking dawn is when sun go up. Twilight when sun go down.
You go with theme. I think you have to go with theme.
It's
Who
weird
cares
that
sun go up, sun go down?
The book is named like Down from the Up Saga. Like, that's weird, right? They're opposites.
Well, first one is Twilight when sun go down, then it's new moon, it's night, then it's eclipse, it's day, but it's dark out, and then breaking dawn, it's day. Obviously.
Yeah, I guess eclipse is the weird one there, right?
Yeah, it gets weird in Washington, probably, or Canada, or wherever this is supposed to be. So
They're like, everyone knows it goes new moon and then eclipse and then the dawn comes. We all know this.
to be fair, is it a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse?
That's true. It could be a lunar eclipse.
Yeah, there are two kinds of eclipses. But we'll talk about that maybe next week. I don't think it'll come up because night doesn't seem to really matter to any of these characters when you get down to it.
That's true.
They just do whatever they want. But I guess they love it in the books because we have to talk about Twilight. But before that, you guys, speaking of Twilight, Robert Pattinson's in it. You know what he's not in? The Oscars this year because they suck again. You guys, they did it. They got back to sucking, and boy, did they. It is not. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Oscars? The 95th Academy Awards nominations went out yesterday.
So
Can I give them the smallest amount of credit for like actually nominating movies that people watched in Top Gun and Avatar? Like those are probably the two biggest movies this year, and they nominated them.
that's the world's worst criticism of the Oscars, so no.
Wow.
I also think they did that because their friends made those movies. I think James Cameron and Tom Cruise can kind of will that into existence no matter what, kind of. I feel like if Top Gun comes out, it's as popular, but it stars like, I don't know, Jamie Foxx or something. Not getting it, but I don't know. It feels like that's the theme of this year, is like you're in the club. It's like some of these guys are just in the club and some of them are not.
Yeah, you say that, but I'm of two minds about this crap of nominees. Because on the one hand, the most nominated movie of the year is Everything Everywhere All at Once. True. My favorite movie of the year, and assuredly not a Hollywood Insiders type of movie or cast. On the other hand, they nominated Elvis a bunch, which is one of the worst things I've seen out of the Academy in a while.
Yeah, they really went all in on Elvis. What do you think that one's all about?
They
weird love of Elvis. Like
no, it's not Elvis that they love, DJ. They love musical biopics.
Yeah, that's it.
They absolutely love them, and I don't know why.
Because it's an impression, which is what they think acting is. They think acting is when you do a really good impression and you cry it sometimes and scream, but like it's really just like it because they're simple. You know, these Oscar voter people and like on nominators, so they can't see something like, I don't know, a good movie with a good performance like The Menu, say, and look at it and go, wow, Ralph Fiennes was really good in that, because he's not doing an impression of anyone. But they can look at this and they can see, oh my God, he looks just like the Elvis. It's like art where it's like that painting does look like an orange. It is a good painting as far as I'm concerned. That's kind of what their deal is.
That's fair for the acting nominees. That's fair for Austin Butler getting nominated. But what about everything else, Nando?
I think I think the impression tricks them into thinking the movie is good. Because that's what happened with Bohemian Rhapsody, too. It was the same thing. It's pretty much played out almost exactly the same way, where it got a bunch of awards it didn't deserve.
That movie was, like, competent, though.
No, it certainly was not.
I don't know. Like, I don't think it was bad.
Bohemian Rhapsody was terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's very not good. And it came out the same year as Rocket Man, which was infinitely superior, but also slightly different than these movies usually are, and for that reason, it was punished. It got thrown into Oscars jail. But
have you seen that clip that goes around every once in a while? Like, it's just a scene from Bohemian Rhapsody, and if you focus on all the cuts and the editing, you realize that the editing is incredibly awful.
It's like an episode of Iron Fist, but with Bohemian Rhapsody instead of Iron Fist.
And the thing is, that's what they won an Oscar for. They won it for editing.
And the editing this year is, or it's not editing, what's really cinematography is a disaster this year, considering some of the movies they left off. But, I mean, like, Elvis is one of the cinematography ones, which is insane.
Yeah, I just looked at it. I mean, I haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front.
No,
me either. That might be good.
That one seems legit.
I've heard Bardo is not very good, but in fairness to them, it is by Alejandro Iñárritu, who usually does have interesting cinematography in his movies, even if they're not good.
That's interesting.
Elvis is here.
Yep.
Empire of Light is by Roger Deakins, who is incredible, but I've not heard good things about the movie. And then Tar is just good.
Tar is fine. Like, I wouldn't say cinematography-wise it's exceptional. It's got some cool stuff. It's a lot of long takes, so that's kind of... I don't know, cinematography is one of those things that I feel like you can kind of justify anything as long as the movie is interesting. It's like, you know, you're shooting a... What's the thing he says in that one movie? Like, if you got your camera pointed at the floor, it's cool. The ceiling, it's cool. Anything else sucks. That's what he says, word for word.
The horizon is low, it's interesting. If the horizon is high, it's interesting. If the horizon's in the middle, it's shit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how they think about cinematography. It's just like, they look at it and go, how'd they do that? I guess that means this is the best picture ever made. But, like,
did you know that's a real story?
No, really? I mean, it makes sense. I feel so so bizarre that it has to be, right? Like,
yeah, no, Steven Spielberg really met John Huston when he was young and not a big director yet, and that's the only advice he gave him.
Incredible. And it's good advice, I guess, you know?
It is good advice. I mean, he's getting at real truths about, you know, framing and how to make it interesting.
It makes you want to go back and watch the movie and look at all the horizons and shit. Like... And go, oh, there was a lot of good horizon in here. Or be like, wow, he already forgot his whole thing because the horizon is boring in every shot. I don't know. That's my pick to win the whole thing, probably. Because it's a movie about how movies are wonderful and triumph of the human spirit, all that stuff.
It was a big favorite going into award seasons, but it's actually been underperforming pretty hard.
Didn't it get the Golden Globe?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything, right?
But like it's mostly not been winning a lot of the awards. Like there's way more awards than just the Golden Globes. There's the Critics Awards. There's a bunch of other stuff that's not rolling off my mind right now. And it hasn't won like most of them.
So my read on this, because there's 10 things nominated for Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front, have not watched it. Looks like a real bummer. Avatar, who cares? Banshees of Inisherin, I think that could get some number one votes. Elvis, obviously bad. Everything Everywhere All at Once probably also gets some number one votes. Fabelmans, I think that's going to get a lot of 2 votes. And I think the ranked choice voting is really going to support Fabelmans here. Because, again, he's friends with all of them. And then you got Tar, which I think will also probably get some 1 spots. Top Gun might, but I doubt it. And then Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking, I would say, are probably real outside. But yeah, I think the ranked choice is what's going to take Fabelmans over the top.
It's possible.
I think it's insanity that they make it that there has to be 10. Like, what if there aren't 10? Why must there be 10?
DJ, they've gone back and forth on this so many times. It used to be up to 10,
but now it must be 10.
And now it must be 10 again, which it used to be before they changed it to up to 10.
But they still get to ignore all the good movies that just put in shit like Elvis. So who cares? You know, it's like
I mean, really, if you look at all the movies that come out and how many of them are good, I don't think 10 is an insane number.
Oh, yeah.
But they picked the wrong 10.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they picked the 10 best movies. I'm saying it's not that hard if you're someone who watches, like, most of the movies that come out to pick 10 that are good.
What do you guys think is the biggest... Who do you think in this were you excited for? Something that got nominated that you're like, oh, yeah, good for them.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, right. That's the answer. I mean, to be fair, like I loved Top Gun. It was such a good movie. I'm glad it got nominated. I guess he's friends with all of them, but it's like, you know.
And also, some of them are dads just like you, and they all thought it was an incredible movie making magic.
Is it something about being a dad that makes you love that movie? Is that what it is?
He is a dad to them. It is a movie about how he is a dad, and he isn't very cool. But then he, over the course of the movie, convinces them that he, a dad, much like you, are cool. I think that's kind of it.
Man, that is what it is. Oh my god.
That is it.
That's what most movies
Fucking
are.
mind control.
When you say, am I excited for it? Do you just mean movies I like that got nominated, or do you mean movies I like that got nominated and I didn't think they would?
I'm thinking like a specific category, something getting represented somewhere where you're like, oh, good for that thing. It could be a didn't think it would be nominated, but it could be a something you did think get nominated.
I'm really glad Ki Hoi Kwan and Stephanie Sue both got nominated for the supporting actor.
That's the big one, yeah. Stephanie Sue. It was
She's
very
not gonna
dicey.
win, though. Like that's a bummer. She's not going to win.
I don't know though, because who wins instead? Angela Bassett for Black
Yeah,
Panther.
Angela
Bassett.
Bassett,
Forgot
easily.
about Hong
Guys,
Chow for The Menu. Just kidding. Another movie nobody watched.
It's Kerry Condon. Kerry Condon's been cleaning up.
She was good, and it's a good movie. And
Yeah,
I feel like
Banshees of Inisherin is good.
they have a lot of representation. They could sweep the actors. Like, you know, I could see Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson both getting it. And then, yeah, it's wild that they're not in cinematography. I feel like they had some pretty cool cinematography in that movie. Like, better than Elvis. But I don't know. I liked all their hats, too. The costumes were good. But what about you, DJ? Did you have something that you liked to see in there?
I mean, it really is like Everything Everywhere and Top Gun. Like, if we're talking specifically Best Picture, like, you know, obviously happy that Puss in Boots got the, you know, rightful nod for, you know, animated. Happy that happened, obviously.
It's bullshit.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. It has to come out in the Pinocchio year. It should win, but then it can't. And we all know it can't. I mean, you haven't seen Pinocchio yet, but people that have seen it know that it can't. But, yeah. Any other year, it totally could win.
No, it's gonna be my movie Turning Red, best Pixar movie ever. Remember,
That's true. Yeah,
it's gonna be Turning Red. Goddamn.
Or Lightyear. Support the Back the Blue. What
did that get nominated?
What else is in there?
I don't think so.
What? I'm looking for it now. I can't find it.
It's not nominated.
What else is? What are the other ones?
It's Guillermo del Toro.
Marcel the Shell, actually.
Marcel the Shell with shoes on.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's animated. Puss in Boots. The Sea Beast and Turning Red. I don't know. I feel like if Marcel the Shell with shoes on gets nominated for Best Animated, then you would have to nominate The Lion King. Except for like PR reasons, they insisted that was live action.
Yeah, like nominate fucking Black Panther. At what point do we draw this line? Like, none of these movies are real anymore. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once is the only one in these where I'm like, that was all probably mostly there. And maybe Tar, but all the rest of these, it's like, I don't know.
They're made in a computer.
Yeah, like I haven't seen The Whale, but I've seen the video of him in the whatever he calls it, like the big giant bodysuit or whatever. It looks like computer. I'm sure they did a lot of computer there. Yeah, I don't know. I hear Sea Beast is very good. I haven't watched it yet, but
is that by that Irish studio I really like? Because it sounds like it might be.
Probably.
Can I say that a low-key, utter disaster of a category this year? It's not. It's not the Irish people. It's something else.
God damn it! Irish, get it together. I mean, they had a huge year with all the Irish people in that movie, plus After Sun Kid. It's as Irish as these have ever been.
That's true. But no,
Irish control the media, like Diggins said.
Like he said,
I
exactly.
did say that. You know what category is a disaster this year?
Sound editing. Right?
Probably, but that's not what I was talking about.
Sound editing is a disaster. Which one? Oh, international feature?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, apparently they didn't submit it, which is baloney, but apparently they...
Which one do you mean?
India did not submit RRR as their one, and that is why it is not there.
I thought they did.
I hear they submitted
It got nominated
else.
for something.
I got song, but...
Yeah,
not
to.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that, which is a travesty. Somehow, Triangle of Sadness is nominated for Best Picture, but not Best International Feature, which is crazy.
Yeah.
How does that work? How the fuck does that work?
And they didn't nominate Decision to Leave, another incredible movie.
Yeah. That is a weird one. I mean, those are some good snubs. DJ, do you have any good snubs?
I mean, you know, in spite of being friends with all the people, how does our boy James Cameron not get the nod for Best Director?
Because the movie's not very good.
But it got the Best Picture nom.
I mean, I think most of the directors are pretty good. I mean, he is a man, so that helps. But, I mean, who would you cut? You know? The Triangle of Sadness guy, maybe? I don't
that's
know.
fair.
It's like Martin McDonagh. He's crushing it this year. The Daniels, Steven Spielberg. I don't know much about Todd Field, the Tar person, but that movie is crushing it. So, yeah. They made Twister. That's a good movie. Is it? Maybe it is. I haven't seen it in a while. But no,
jury's out.
The big disaster of a category was sound editing, you guys, because it's just it's a microcosm of why the whole rest of it wasn't good. Although sound is one of the only things the Batman got nominated for, not cinematography, not any of the stuff it deserved, but sound. It had cool sound, but if there was anywhere Nope should have been, it was sound. And Nope was nowhere because it was mean to them. It told them they weren't the coolest guys ever in Hollywood, and maybe movies aren't the key to, understanding the human spirit, and they just could not have that. Unacceptable.
Interesting.
Yeah, I find
also
that
unsurprising.
wrong. Like, kind of, but like, what is it then? If they just kick Jordan Peele to the curb? Like, are they like, we gave you your one, now go home forever? Yeah,
man, you can't be mean to us. That's like kind of the rules.
It might be.
Because it's a popularity contest. We all know this, right? I don't feel like it's not a secret.
I mean, that definitely is what it is. I guess usually it's just like, you can do this with a movie that's not pretty much as close to flawless as that movie was and get away with it. But it's really hard when the movie's just very, very, very good and you completely ignore it.
Was it actually close to flawless?
I'm sure its Rotten Tomato score is pretty solid, but I
heard mixed things. I heard mixed things about it.
Really?
I think Nando likes Nope more than I do, but I still think Nope is very good.
Wait, DJ, have you not seen Nope?
No. Nope.
What? Oh, Nope is great. I think Nope is awesome.
But I got, okay, and this is probably, I should attribute this, but I got all of my Nope takes from Michelle because she saw it. Yeah, and she was like, it's fine. She said it was her least favorite of the Peele movies.
Well, that's an opinion, I guess. I think
she liked Us. I didn't like Us, but she liked Us.
I think it's way more tight and like kind of something than Us, but also technically I think it's just far more interesting because of some of the sound. Honestly, like there's big chunks of the movie where you're like, wow, this is some cool ass sound, but not cool enough.
We should be super upset that like Megan didn't get nominated, right? That's the one we should all be
came out this year.
Oh right, okay, so it will get nominated next year,
obviously.
Yeah,
or else
I could see
Megan will come after them.
I mean, I could see Megan. Yeah, I think Megan. You know what? If they wanted to give it a visual effects award, I'd be like, yeah, it deserves it. There was very good visual effects. The doll looked like a real person, but not a person, but also not a doll. Have you seen any of the behind the scenes of what they did with that?
No.
Apparently, there's just like a lot of random. Sometimes it was a doll, sometimes it was a kid, sometimes it was a robot, like a little kind of something that's arms and legs would move. Very interesting effect. But yeah, I don't know. Who do you guys think is going to win Best Picture?
Everything Everywhere.
No,
really?
No way. It'll never happen.
I don't buy it. I think they're going to give.
I would love it if it did. But
never happen. It's literally the betting favorite.
Yeah, but they're wrong. Sometimes they're
never wrong. That's the point.
They're often
That's how I win all my pools. I look at I'm like, oh, Coda's at minus 150. Coda's gonna win. Although that was very late breaking. Coda didn't have that till like the last 2 weeks last year, so that might have been part like because the Oscars were so late in the calendar year. But like, all you have to do is look at the betting odds to see who's going to win. It's not a secret anymore.
Look, we're still over a month away, though, DJ. So by your own logic, the betting markets are not correct yet.
But like, what would I don't understand? Like, it's the favorite now. What would overtake it? That's what I don't get.
That's why I think it's Fabelmans. I think it is the anti-Nope. It is made by their friend who they all know, and it's about how movies are cool and sweet. And they're all in it. Not all of them, but a lot of people are like, I don't know. It's like one of those love letters to Hollywood, kind of.
To be fair to the Fabelmans, I think its take on the power of cinema and the effect it has on his life is more ambiguous than just like it's super good and everyone should love it.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. But out of all the 10 ones that are nominated, it's the closest to one of those. There really isn't another like, look at how cool movies are. Besides maybe Top Gun, if you want to call that what that is.
But that's the other thing. It's like, I don't know. It's always funny with these like nominate 10, right? It's like, oh, there are so many movies, but like only 3 of them have a chance. Yeah. Like 7 of these movies have no shot, even though they get nominated. So like, what's the point, right? Like we could all agree that like Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking have no shot.
Well, DJ, it's an honor just to be nominated.
It's an honor just to be nominated.
I feel like they are honored.
So then like you get to it's like, what has a legitimate shot? So to your point, the Fabelmans, I think Everything Everywhere. Yeah. Like maybe if they all get high off their ass, they're like, yeah, Top Gun's gonna win because we want to be cool again. They want to like convince everyone's like, no, I'm cool, guys. I'm like super cool. You don't even know how cool I am. It's like maybe they get high and pick Top Gun, but like
I guess the betting odds right now are Banshees is the second most likely.
I was gonna say Banshees. That was gonna be my guess.
It's got all the acting nominations, like that and Everywhere All at Once are the 2 categories that are full of. There are 2 movies that are full of actors, so that usually helps.
Right. That's fair.
Then you got Top Gun and Fabelmans, both around plus 1,000.
Fabelmans is plus 1,000, and you think it'll win?
Yeah, I think that
that'd be a crazy leap.
But
real,
yeah, because
put money on that, man. You can make some bank.
Like Best Director nominees and odds. The Daniels are at -140, but Spielberg's at plus 110. So it's like that's way closer. And I think if Spielberg gets that, then Spielberg wins picture for sure.
By the way, to translate this into people speak, plus 1,000 is 10 to 1. That's like the probability odds looking at it, and then like plus 100 is like even, like even odds. For those who aren't degenerates like Nando and I.
That's right. I also think it's like there are enough Fableman like awards in there that I like, or like nominations for other categories that I could see someone going, oh yeah, this is like Michelle, what's her name, is very good in that, and then Judd Hirsch is very good in that, and just going, you know what, that was pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. You got to watch.
I mean, we'll see. I like to see how it moves, because I think whatever Coda opened at last year, it wasn't like a huge outside, but it was like it didn't open as like the super duper favorite, and then it was by the end. So I'd be curious to see if Banshees makes a move, and then because the other thing is like more people see the movies, right?
Yeah.
And that's what causes a lot of the movement. So if a lot more people see Banshees, then that'll cause just like a ton of movement. So
well, that's my thing with Everything Everywhere is I do feel like a lot of people have seen that, like just people I talk to that aren't huge fans of the fucking farting corpse movie, but those guys are like, that movie is out there, it's getting all kinds of nominations. Whereas like Fabelmans, it's like people haven't seen that, but they're kind of starting to hear about it now, and I don't know. I think it has nowhere to go but up, But
I feel like Oscar voters probably did see it when it came out for the most part.
Oh, sure, but people will be talking about it more now, I think. I think Everywhere Everything had a big kind of popularity bump originally, and I don't think Fabelmans did. I think it's one of the only ones of these that has room to like grow. So I feel like the Banshees was on HBO. Everybody watched it that one weekend, or like within about a month. And yeah, Top Gun, I don't know, maybe Top Gun. We'll see. But yeah, who do you think's going to win, Diggins?
I think Banshees.
Oh, you do think? Okay, I could see it.
Well, put some money on that, Diggins. You could make some bank. I would say that if you really think Fabelmans has a shot, throw $10, win 100.
I've gambled once in my life at your third bachelor party, and I've never done it again, and I'm not going to start now.
I mean, listen, maybe I will put some money on it because I don't know. I feel good about it.
It's pretty good, plus 1,000. It's pretty good.
What else is going on? No Robert Pattinson this year, which is a shame because he was so good in The Batting Gentleman, but he was also he wasn't bad in Twilight, but less good in these. Because I was going to say, just real quick on the other side of the award season, something that we covered on the show, Pinocchio racked up all those Razzies. Which is fair. Oh, yeah. The movie sucks and it's bad. It should feel bad for how bad it is.
Nando, do you briefly want to rant about the Razzies?
Or they suck. They're not funny anymore. They're very boring.
Aww.
Like
no!
I don't think they were ever like interesting. And I've heard nothing but people that have been like, yeah, and like I went to the ceremony once and it sucked. Like there's just not a good. It's surprising it gets this much coverage. Honestly. I blame Sandra Bullock for accepting hers in person and getting it kind of some legitimacy. But yeah.
Didn't Halle Berry do it first?
Maybe, but Sandra Bullock did it the same year she won the Oscar. So I think that was like the kind of, oh, look, they're kind of on equal footing versus like some silly thing. But yeah, I mean, they already rescinded their nomination for the 11-year-old or whatever for that movie nobody saw. But just in general, they're pretty wrong about a lot of this, right?
If it was up to DJ, we would have seen Firestarter.
That's
Facts.
True.
I wanted us to do it.
And, I mean, I don't know, now I'm almost kind of interested, but I probably won't watch it. Like, if you go look at their website, like, their website sucks. And this is an official one, so that's not a great sign. But yeah, they did a bad job.
Well, I apologize for bringing it up. I did not realize it would be such a controversial topic.
It's weird, too.
I thought you were bringing it up because Nando made a whole video about how the Razzies are bad.
Yeah. They did
man.
They really went in on...
Now who's the one who doesn't follow Nando's YouTube career?
Oh, yeah.
I've been exposed.
I would say the biggest surprise for me, I think there's somebody at the Razzies who Pete Davidson had sex with their girlfriend or something. Because he made worst supporting actor and worst actor for movies I didn't even know existed. And, like, that can't be right. Like, they just think he's a silly person, and they want that to be a thing.
No.
They want that smoke.
The only Pete Davidson performance I saw this year was pretty good.
Exactly, right? He was fine this year. And he's kind of leaning into it, and it seems like it's working for him. But, yeah, I don't know. It's not good. But yes, Pinocchio, Morbius, they both deserve lots and lots of this because they're bad. The rest of them probably not. Like, have either of you heard of a movie called The King's Daughter?
No.
Right? Like, I don't even know what that is. Apparently it's a movie, but it's got Pierce Brosnan. Oh, this actually looks pretty funny. This looks pretty awesome, actually. Oh, man.
Nitpicking movie?
I don't know. I just read the IMDb summary, so this kind of makes the IMDb part of it not as fun, but it is an insane story.
Okay. We'll neuralize you.
Yeah, I would say maybe we do this, honestly.
We have to make sure we do it on a week where Nando is the IMDb'sman.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we'll do.
Maybe that is how
But he's not going to win, so I guess we're never doing it.
Oh!
Well, we'll have to see, because we got a weird one this week, I bet, because a lot of stuff happens in this movie, but kind of all, not like by accident, but almost disconnected from other things in a way that...
I can't summarize this movie.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I don't know what I'm going to do. Diggins, you're in charge. Give us the rundown.
All right. Well, first of all, if you're listening to us for the first time, we do a little game here called the IMDb, B as in spelling bee, where my two esteemed co-hosts have to guess what the summary for this movie is on IMDb. Now, you might be wondering, where do these summaries come from? Well, I'll tell you. There is a remote island out in the Pacific Ocean, hundreds of miles from any other human civilization. Every time a child is born on this island, rather than have the parents raise them, the village elders take this child to the cliffside and toss them into the ocean below. Now, the child is then taken into the breast of Mother Ocean and raised by the sea until its 13th birthday, where it crawls back onto the coast. Its legs wobbling under the weight of gravity for the first time in its life. It approaches the elders and it whispers in their ears the summary of a movie that came out recently. The elders write that down and then send it on the plane that comes by once a year to collect all of these scribblings, which is then shipped directly to IMDb headquarters, where they record all of these summaries whispered by these fish people and put them on IMDb.com. So I have the Ocean Secret Forbidden Knowledge IMDb summary of the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1 right here before me. Now, Nando, as last week's loser, you get to choose. Are you going to go first or second? And I'm going to give you guys a hint. It focuses on one part of the movie.
Okay.
Am I going to go first or second? I'll go second.
All right, so DJ.
All right, so I feel this is a good move by Nando because I'm gonna do one and he'll probably do the others. Okay. After Bella and Edward finally get married, they enjoy each other's time during their honeymoon, during which an unexpected event changes their lives forever.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, after Bella becomes pregnant with a vampire baby, the Cullens and Edward and the Cullens need to figure out what to do because the baby, what was I going to say? To preserve the delicate balance between werewolves and vampires. Yeah.
You both did a really bad job.
Of course we did.
Yeah, neither of you picked the correct plot point nor the correct character from whose perspective it should be written.
Son of a bitch.
Jacob?
That would make more sense than what it is.
The Italian?
No,
the father?
I'll say him.
I'd like to see this movie from his perspective, honestly.
Oh God, he's so good.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had to give it to someone, I would have to give it to Nando.
I mean, you do have to technically. That is how this works. But
remember
unless you have a good
tiebreaker,
then you can. I don't want to win by default.
I feel so like you both did a really bad job. However, the reason I would pick you over DJ is still a fairly large reason. which is that you mentioned that the wolves exist at all.
Yeah, they are important.
And DJ didn't. And this summary is from the perspective of the werewolves.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, that's wild.
Cool.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, I'm going to give it to Nando. The real summary is: the Quilutes close in on expecting parents Edward and Bella, whose unborn child poses a threat to the wolf pack and the townspeople the Forks.
Why is that?
What?
Oh my god.
I know, it's not the movie.
It's one of those classic movies where for the first hour of the movie, the thing the summary is about isn't in it.
Now, to be fair,
classic.
Other examples of that kind of classic movie are every other Twilight movie.
Yeah, that's fair. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the worst ones we've ever seen.
It really is
It really
very
is.
bad. DJ, as the loser, you get to explain what happened in the movie. Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. Honestly, though, it's pretty easy because, like, nothing happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could do this summary in 15 seconds.
I think you could.
Ooh, that,
for
like,
it.
challenge except... Wait.
Yeah,
More reasonable goal.
I'll get a timer up.
Like, 30? 30,
I'm willing to give you 30.
I'll do 30.
Okay.
Right.
Give me a go.
All right, here we go. You're going to start at 3, 2, 1, go. 3,
Okay.
2, 1, go.
All right, Edward and Bella get ready to have a wedding. They decide to go to an island for their honeymoon because Bella doesn't want to turn immediately because it would be painful. So they go on their honeymoon and they have sex, and Bella somehow gets pregnant, even though that's impossible. So they get the Cullens and Jacob together to protect Bella from the wolves because wolves want to kill the newborn child. And the child is born, and Bella almost dies, but then Edward injects the venom into Bella, and she is able to survive. And at the end of the movie, her eyes open, and she's alive and now a vampire.
Wow, just under 30 seconds. Very good.
And you really only missed...
29.55.
I would say you only missed one thing, which is...
What was the thing?
The big thing we'll talk about at the end.
I didn't comprehend any of it, so what did he say, Dickens? I was watching the numbers go up on the stopwatch in front of me.
He really did cover pretty much almost every salient point. Well, you know, the wedding, the honeymoon, pregnancy... pregnancy's bad for her, but she delivers the baby and then gets turned into a vampire, and the werewolves aren't happy about it.
Are the Volturi the one thing that I missed?
The one thing you missed is a little something that happens between the baby and another character.
Oh shit!
Right,
yeah, it's weird because it's so important, but it doesn't really come up until the next movie.
Well, that's because the two movies are one book.
Yeah, and not a very like long or complicated book too. Like, there's an argument that like Harry Potter had to be split up into two movies. I never read Hunger Games, but I've heard the argument that Hunger Games had to be two movies.
Also wrong.
Yeah.
Really? You think both of those are wrong?
If the Lord of the Rings movies could reasonably be made one movie per book, then any book can be made into a movie.
Hard agree.
Fair enough. All right. Well, this is probably the least in the running for book needs to be split into two movies. There's nothing here.
I'm not sure there's enough in the book for one movie.
Yeah.
I think that us doing a podcast episode, we're almost like cheating the audience. It actually made sense that we spent like
I was going to say,
30 minutes on the Oscars.
It was on purpose, yeah. There's not a whole lot to say. I mean, we'll see. Maybe we have things to say, but I don't know.
I think we have some good wheel chunks and stuff.
We're probably going to spend a lot of time talking about it because almost 100% of it is nonsense, but truly nothing happens in this movie.
That's a great point.
If this movie were a book, right? Like if the Breaking Dawn, Stephanie Meyer, she does this. Like, would this, like, even as a short story, pass like a 6th grade writing test? I don't think it does.
I mean,
like, there's no call to adventure. There's no like challenge of the hero. There's nothing.
It's a very nothing movie.
Any series of events can be a good story if it's written in an interesting enough way. Now, everything I know about the Twilight books is that that's not true. However, I have not read them, so I can't say myself. But yeah, that's my opinion, at least.
It seems like we're in a situation where, like, I guess it feels like you could write this story as a full story, but instead they took one full story and sliced it in half and just did the first part. Like, because this is all just set up. And that's the problem with these every single time, is that I think you could tell this story in a more kind of, I don't know, with better plotting, I guess. But yeah, it's just kind of like, the things in a list they have to happen, and then they do, so that they can set up the last one, which is when all the stuff they actually want to do happens.
Honestly, a part of me is like, this entire series could have made one pretty good book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like it's middle school, you know, like cheesy romantic schlock, right? Like that's all it's here to do, and then inspire awful, you know, softcore porn or erotica or whatever.
That then inspires awful movies about old women reading said softcore porn.
Yeah, seriously.
I guess the only thing with this one is like my biggest problem with these movies compared to the Hunger Games and the Harry Potters, which have their own problems, but like this movie always feels like we're just following the least interesting part of the movie, and it's like the family dynamic, what the other vampires are doing, the Italians, the werewolves. I do kind of sometimes wonder, like, what is this? If this was a show, what would we actually be focusing on? But it's always just these two. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job, or the characters aren't very interesting. They're just never the most interesting thing on screen. For me, at least.
And so I agree, Nando. And what's crazy about that is, in this universe, like, everyone is willing to change everything they've ever done and will do for Bella for some reason. Like, the wolves are ready to break treaties, the Cullens are ready to break their rules, and, like, everyone will upend how they live their lives for Bella. It's wild.
Wouldn't you, DJ? Have you ever been in this situation where Bella specifically has come up to you and, like, been like, hey, let's go revolt against the Italians? You would probably do it.
But, Nando, it doesn't make sense. She's not class president or captain of the girls' volleyball team or, like, third thing that Anna Kendrick mentions.
Yeah, that was great.
The arc of Anna Kendrick's character in these movies is insane.
I wouldn't be surprised if she's the secret bad guy in the fourth one or something. I don't think she is, but if for some reason the Italians, like, revealed their spy was her, I'd be like, hell yeah, this was well set up. Payoff accepted, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think,
or if she was replaced by a vampire spy or whatever, so it hasn't been Anna Kendrick since the second movie or something.
That makes sense. That would work for me. Yeah, this movie's not good. It's my turn to say if it's good, right? What I liked about it.
Is. Yeah.
I don't like these movies very much. This one was very upsetting. Visually, there was a lot of things I didn't like to see that I saw. A lot of the things that were happening were weird. Listen, I'm not going to say they're not good at it or at acting or anything, but the werewolves just do not work for me as a group. And I think you can see it. You can see, you know, like Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart evolving into like really, really good actors. Like not like that they're there now, but it's like, oh yeah, that's kind of compelling. Like they're turning this into something. Whereas, man, these werewolves just they don't got it. Not that they're bad, but they're fine. And it is tough because, like Diggins said, the movie is about them. Also, all the main characters are weird in this one. I don't want to say bad or like evil, but just strange. And I found that really upsetting. So yeah, visually I didn't like looking at it. Really, we'll talk about it, but a couple of really upsetting things. And yeah, this one had way more CGI than the other ones, and it did not work for me either. But so I'm not a fan. I feel like the end of this movie, very, very end, teases the thing that I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. None of this, please. Let's do that other thing instead. So maybe the next one will be my favorite of the 5, but this one honestly might be my least favorite. It's a real toss-up between this and the last one. What about you, DJ? What did you think of it?
Oh, man, I hate it so much. It's like, it's a shame, like I said, for our audience that we have to cover this movie, but we're going to make it good, listeners. We got some good wheel stuff.
That'll be determined by the listeners after the fact. You guys
That's fair. I shouldn't presume. But holy shit, is this movie bad. It's like, watching it, it's like, it probably only works for like, you know, like I said, fucking teenagers who like during all of like the softcore porn are just like, oh my god, because it's just, this movie is just like fan service. Like it's 80 minutes of like just softcore porn at one point, just like all the honeymoon stuff. It's insane. It's truly insane. It's not good. It's very bad, and they should feel like ashamed for themselves. Just kidding. They probably made so much fucking money.
Oh my god, I'm sure this made an insane amount of money.
Fan base is so loyal, so you know. Like, good for them, I guess. But, you know, cringe, baby.
Like, I guess
so cringe.
With me, I do think you can kind of compare this to the Harry Potters in a way that's like, I don't really care about the Harry Potters in general, But it sometimes is good when it's like an interesting director or an interesting actor shows up to do something interesting. And this one doesn't have any of that. And that, I think, is really where this one falls flat for me. Is like, I think you could throw a cool director in here and it would at least be kind of fun. But yeah, it's definitely not that. Diggins, what about you? What do you think of this movie?
I feel like I say this every time. And every time it's like, somehow it's more true. Just nothing happens.
Yeah.
I was an hour in watching them on their honeymoon having softcore porn sex, and I was like, when does the plot start? We're still in this?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Again, I've said this every time pretty much, but like, yeah, I was someone who made fun of Twilight as a teen. Yeah. Because I was a boy, and that's what you did. Mm-hmm. And I never read it or watched it back then. I didn't know if anything I was saying was true. And over the years, I kind of assumed it was probably exaggerated. And while it wasn't good, like it wasn't really as crazy as, people like me made it seem. And every time I'm surprised by how much that's not true. And the things that happen in this series are just off the wall bananas.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I wish I could kind of eat my words and be like, you guys, it was actually cool and good, but it ain't.
You know me. You know I love to be the contrarian. If I could find any good in here, I would. But I don't know what to tell you guys. These movies are bad.
That's real tricky. It's a, I want to say this was our first time, all of us, watching this one, correct?
Yeah, this is every one of these podcasts has been my first time watching all of these.
Same.
Okay, cool. So I will say the only kind of difference is I have seen some of the things in the last one. So I know some of the big pop beats, and I know some of the action scenes, which, boy, don't get your hopes up. But either way,
I know what things happen, but I've never seen them visually.
Yeah, so some of that is fun. And, I do think that's part of why the next one just, this really does feel like you cut all the fun stuff off of that one and put it in this movie, so that one could be Italians. But we'll get to it. There's a lot going on. Yeah, man. Where would you rank this among your Twilights?
Oh, it's dead last.
God. I'm with you, Nando, where it's hard to figure out if I like the last one more or less than this one. The third one, that is. Eclipse. Because Eclipse is quite bad. I think I would have to say, I think I might actually like this one a little more than Eclipse, just because Jacob was so goddamn insufferable in Eclipse.
And he was cool here?
He's not good here, but he is better.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, by a degree, maybe. Like a single degree.
Yeah, listen, I am setting the lowest possible bars because those are the bars I have.
I feel like at least with Eclipse, it's like there is a love triangle. I mean, there's not. But that's kind of what the movie's about. But with this, he's just being a brat the whole time because she doesn't like him and want to be his girlfriend or wife or whatever. And it's just like, get over it, dude. She picked.
Yeah, but she had picked last time, and he was being not physically aggressive instead of just being like, your choices are bad.
Well, the movie wanted us to keep forgetting she picked because it wanted to have that tension. But yeah, it's it doesn't really know what to do with this guy at all. It's really bad. You guys, I have a wheel. It turns, much like a, does anything turn in this movie?
Bella turns into a vampire.
That's true. That's a great, oh my god, that's perfect. Yeah, it turns just like that. There's 10 things on it. We're just going to talk about it. I think we'll get most of the important things about the movie that we haven't mentioned, because if you're like, why haven't they mentioned this yet? We haven't done it yet, but it'll be on the wheel probably. And I'm going to spin it and start tick, tick, tick. I landed on this one, which is a great place to start. This is one of Diggins', I think. Edward used to be cool.
That was my name for it, yes.
Yeah, what's the story with this? Because I agree, this is very interesting. Another time when the movie goes, hey, look at this more interesting movie over here. It doesn't show us because it hates us.
So, Edward, right before the day before the wedding or something, explains part of his fear of Bella turning into a vampire and what that will do to her. A problem that he's had since the beginning of the series, and yet is only now explaining where his fear comes from. So, put another markup on the board for Edward being a great communicator as a partner. Which is that for a while after he was turned, he actually left the Cullens and embraced his vampire nature, which he did by becoming Morbius, the living vampire. And he went out and he found rapists and criminals and murderers and ate them, so that he could feel what it was like to hunt without being too bad of a person. And now he's like, even that was still murder and it was bad, which, fair enough as a character arc. Honestly, if I had seen that movie where he is doing this stuff and then comes to that realization, I'd be like, that's a pretty good movie. But instead, we're just here at the end of that arc, and he says it happened in a minute, and it never comes up again.
Yeah, and even in that moment, I think it's interesting because he says this, and it is his kind of deep, dark secret. And in the beginning of the thing, in that scene, he's watching a movie at a movie theater, old-timey movie theater.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Captain America would go. Yeah, and that's right, it's Bride of Frankenstein. And then they go, there's a woman there, and he kind of follows her out of the theater a little bit, but then he attacks a man that's going to jump her, and he's like, you see, I was a hero, and I killed bad guys instead of good people. And Bella's like, wait, so that's fine though, right? And he's like, no, it was very bad of me. And she's like, I don't think so. And I'm like, yeah, I think you're right, Bella. It's not that big of a deal. It's pretty cool that he did that. Like Diggins said, it's the best thing he's done so far in these movies. Bullshit. They don't let him get away with it.
Just every vampire backstory, every time we hear one, we're like, wow, that's really cool. I would love to see that. And they're like, no, this is the movie now.
It really is bizarre. And he's just so unfun with it, obviously. But it's so I guess I feel like there's a way you can tell that story where he's like, I killed people, and they really doesn't explain it to her, and then later he explains it to her as that I was a vigilante, but I just didn't want to say that because I want to feel sorry for myself. But no, he can't even do that. He starts with complete justification. We're all cool with it. And then, he changes his tune. It's pretty weird.
We'd have to wait until 2022 to finally see Robert Pattinson as a vaguely bat-themed vigilante who stops crimes.
Exactly. And it's awesome. That's what we've learned so far, is that it's cool when he does that.
Yeah, I guess we did finally get that movie. Who was the Batman?
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
If only Batman could kill. Why has no director ever taken a shot at that? Because already we're seeing that it's got great returns.
I think what we need is some Batman media to really explore the idea of Batman never killing, because I don't think we've ever had anything like that.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. Something like that would be great. I would also take something about how Batman and the Joker are kind of opposites. Maybe they can both be in the same movie, but I think that would be fantastic.
Huh.
The juxtaposition is so stark.
Because, they're both two sides of the same coin when you really get down to it. One is chaos and one is order. So, I don't know. There might be something there. Just, whoever's writing Romvee, whoever's writing Batman right now, putting it into the universe. We'll see if that ever materializes.
That's a really cool observation, Nando. That's really great.
Yeah, wow. I've never
been reading
thought
a
about
lot of
before.
Batman comics, and this is something that, I've been kind of working together. It's like a fan theory, almost.
Gotcha, yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I love that.
What do you guys think about the part where I think it's interesting in this movie. They get married, right? And that's part of the whole thing. Yeah. He was like, we have
the big climactic end of the movie wedding as the first thing that happens in the movie.
Oh my God, yeah. I started this movie and I'm like, oh shit, I skipped one. This can't be the one. There's some stuff that has to have happened between they get proposed and the wedding's today, right? And it's like, no, they just didn't bother. Which is fine, I guess. I mean, I would love to see her tell her dad. I want that conversation.
I like to imagine that her telling her dad was the scene we do see of him getting the invitation.
That's fair. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird because there's this whole thing is this tension that's I don't want to turn you into a vampire. It's bad. And it's kind of I thought that was the deal, man. Why aren't you being cool and doing the deal?
Also, he's holding out where this is the big thing. The wedding is the big deal, not the vampirism of it all.
Right.
Well, that's because they're all secretly Mormons. He has. I would say in this movie he has agreed he's going to do it. It's Bella who's I don't want to be a vampire until after the honeymoon, so I can feel what it's like to go to Pound Town as a human.
Oh God.
Which
fair enough to her, honestly.
I guess. I mean. There's positives and negatives there, I guess. I could be convinced one way or the other.
Well, we have a later wheel chunk to really talk about that. I have some thoughts.
Yeah. What'd you think of Edward in this movie?
He's so bleh.
He's just the same he's always been. It's like, I feel like him and Jacob feel slightly better than they have in the past just because we're past the wedding now, and so like his insane possessiveness just doesn't come up that much. It's like, it's not that he's improved as a character, it's just like the things that show how bad of a character he is just don't happen.
Yeah, I can see that. It does feel like he is, I don't want to say like the most correct in this movie between the three of them, but I do find myself taking his side through a lot of the movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah, there is also his responses as a partner at least feel justifiable in this one.
Yeah. I like that about him. I'm happy for him. But yeah, it's pretty.
I mean,
weird.
he still says some pretty whack shit later.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, he's a real weirdo. What would you do if you were in Jacob's position?
get over it.
Yeah, man. Like, stop it.
Listen,
Stop what? Like break up with her, or like just stop? Be like, I don't care. I'll do. Yeah, I guess you're gonna wear me down on this. I'll kill you with sex on the honeymoon.
Oh, sorry. Do you mean Edward?
Oh, sorry. I mean Edward. God damn it.
You said Jacob,
Okay.
so I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I would just get over her, man.
No, obviously it can't because he's so in love. But no, what would you do if you were in Edward's position?
I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a portion of this where it's like, you know, we could do our honeymoon whenever. Maybe we should turn you into a vampire, you know, sooner rather than later. Feels like us delaying this is doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or I'd make a deal like, oh, okay, like first night, sure. And then after that, I vamper you. And then we'd have the rest of our honeymoon as vampires.
That's a good point. I guess she says that she doesn't want to be all dead on her honeymoon, but
Yeah, which I get. But also, like, you're both independently wealthy and never work. You could be on your honeymoon as long as you want.
yeah, and look
And
at the
whenever you
alternative. Like, look what happens. Obviously, maybe that would have been ideal, but
Yeah, the alternative is you get a computer baby.
we'll
Yeah,
get
that's
to
no
Oh.
good.
we'll get to it.
I mean, I feel like to fully develop my thoughts, I would have to get into vampire sex again, which I want to talk about the wedding before we do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I spun the wheel again. It landed on one of mine. Way too many speeches at this wedding. What
Oh
is
my
so
God.
the first maybe 25, 30 minutes, well, no, let's say 20 minutes of the movie is this rush to a wedding. We can't be done with the wedding quickly enough, which I think is insane because this is an Act 3 beat of a movie like this. And then the werewolves fight the vampires, I guess, at the wedding or something. But no, it just kind of happens. And everybody's cool with it. I mean, like,
Except for one lady we've never met before and will never meet again.
oh, yeah, who was that?
I guess she was a Alaska vampire who like was dating Laurent after he left the evil circle from the first movie, but then he was going to do more evil stuff that because of Victoria, and so he got killed by a werewolf. And so
Gotcha.
she's all mad because she's like, I was dating him and now he's dead and a werewolf killed him and you invited werewolves to this wedding. Grr. Anyway, that's my character. See you later. And she pieces out of the rest of the franchise.
Bye.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of weird werewolfing going on in this movie. People have a lot of thoughts about werewolves. You'd never believe it. Some people are not as on board as you would hope. It's a very bigoted society when you really get down to it.
Yeah, when you think about it. Also, she has like maybe the worst CGI eyes out of anyone in the series. Just her big yellow eyes look so unnatural.
Yeah, except for a certain other character, but he rocks
Right.
him with an incredible amount of style. So yeah, I can't hate.
Right. Obviously, I'm leaving out the one character at the end of the movie who's obviously
Yeah.
the worst CGI anything.
The best. He's awesome. I think we're talking about different characters, but yeah, I know
was
what you
talking
mean.
about a character who is more CGI than the character
Yes.
you mean.
That, well, I mean, you know, some would say mine is almost more CGI. What man is left under all that cake makeup and you know
mean
nail polish and whatever?
What Mon?
That's right. What Mon is left? Yeah, this wedding, man. So everybody, all of the main characters are there. Mom and Dad show up. That was interesting.
Oh, I mean,
Where's the baseball player?
He's there.
Dead.
He's standing next to her when she's walking down the aisle.
Oh, okay.
I think he died, but yeah, maybe that's what it was too. Maybe someone ate him in the back. Just see him getting ripped to shreds by vampires.
Maybe after angry yellow eye vampire left, she's like, I need a snack, and killed her stepdad.
Yeah.
God.
And Bella's like, Dad, why is this such a big deal? Why can't they rip Mom's new boyfriend to shreds? And he's like, okay, I guess.
He's like, actually, I'm not that upset about that one.
what would
that's
you do
the-
if you were...
That's the kind of joke we've come to expect from that they make about her dad's character.
I mean, he's great. He's the best character in the movie.
No,
except
he
for
is
the other
great,
one.
but like,
Yeah.
like his speech, getting back to the speeches, is being like, haha, Edward, I'm a cop, I know where you live, and I have a gun. Because that's what, dads in this kind of culture say, I guess.
Well, it's interesting because it's that, and then it's also the, you get in the beginning of that scene, or at least in his introduction to, well, I guess when he goes to the Cullen house to see Bella for the first time in her wedding dress, he's like, why do they have all these fucking graduation caps on the wall? That's weird, right? And I feel like he's trying to convince the mom, like, I don't think you get it. It's a cult. Like, we have to do something today or we're never going to see our daughter again.
And he's right.
He's right. Absolutely right. Yeah. I wish he was able to do something about that today because, yeah, it's game over.
It's the thing. It's like he clearly knows what, like, something's up and, like, is trying to save her, but also he knows, like, he can't force her to not do the things she wants to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can really see the tragedy of Charlie Swan in every frame that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, DJ? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, I think part of the folly here is that it's just a bad idea to have an open mic wedding, just under all circumstances.
Is that what it was?
You're having a real call out on all Russians right now.
Is that what they all do?
It is apparently, I have been told by Russian people, a custom at Russian weddings that anyone who can give a speech, or anyone who wants to give a speech can.
All right, well, I would like to throw this out there. It is a bad idea. I've actually been to this kind of event in person, and it sucks, and it's awkward, and you need guardrails on these things, because without guardrails, it's just, we live in a society. We live in a society.
Ooh, that could be something the Joker says to Batman.
Oh,
that
wow,
would be actually a pretty cool line for him to say because of how much he doesn't like society, or does he?
Yeah, he could. Maybe we could do something where the Joker's whole thing is like he's trying to expose the absurdity and hypocrisies of society through his own like absurdities.
Like he's so crazy, but maybe he's the only one who's really sane.
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe something like that.
Guys, this is so. I can't believe no one's ever thought of this. We've got to write this down.
I think he'd smoke a lot too, right? Almost definitely smoke a lot.
Oh, certainly,
and
yeah.
dance.
Yeah. Oh, can we also dress him up like Jesus? I think dressing him up like Jesus would be awesome.
I mean, that's a requirement for every comic book character.
I thought that went without saying.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah. It's especially... So thinking about this wedding, my biggest problem with the wedding is that all the speeches are bad, too. None of them are good. They're all like the worst wedding speeches I've ever heard. And I've worked a lot of weddings. And it's just like... Yeah. Insulting the bride, insulting the groom, too drunk guy, person who doesn't really know anybody there. It's all the greatest hits of a bad wedding. Wild.
Talking about how much the bride and groom are going to be going to Pound Town in front of their parents.
Bro, so like, okay, obviously he was like, little vampires, but everyone else was like, oh my god, are you talking about them fucking?
Yeah, it's weird. They're weirdos. It's a cult. Oh, Bella, run. It's too late, but run.
Oh man! So here's the thing: would it be crazier to you if it was an open mic wedding, or if Bella and Edward really asked like 8 people to give speeches?
Oh my gosh! I actually think it's crazier to just be like, all right, come one, come all, say what you will. I think that is crazier than telling 8 people, all right, you all get speeches. I think the open mic is crazier.
Well, okay. Let's work through the people. So we get the first guy, who I guess is the brother. I don't remember this character at all.
That's
but he
Emmett.
exists.
He's the himbo brother.
Yeah, there you go. So he gives a speech that's very bad.
He gives the sex speech.
Yeah. Off to an incredible start. We get some great looks at Dad, who is, again, terrified of everything that's happening, but helpless to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Also, maybe dating the widow of that one Quilut guy who died in 2.
If he's not dating her, they're fucking or something. Something's going on between those two.
Something is going on between those two.
And what's his name is not happy about it. The
Jacob's
other guy.
Dad, yeah.
Yeah. So that's interesting, isn't it?
Do you think Jacob's dad isn't happy about it because he's got a thing for her, or because Charlie is white?
I think he's got a thing for her. That's how I read that little...
Same.
I mean, he's white. To quote Tom Hanks, he's white.
Where's the nomination for Tom Hanks for Best Actor? Huh?
He's cleaning up on Razzies. He was too busy that day. I do think the thing with... So that's a speech. I think Dad is next, and then we get Anna Kendrick. I might have mixed those up.
I don't recall.
But you're right. The dad speech is just, I will kill you, Edward, if you do the things that I know you're going to do, because this is a weird cult. And he's great. Still best character in these. Anna Kendrick's speech is truly insane. Like, unhinged. I don't know what happened to her in the week between last movie and this movie, but something happened.
Right? Like the like I said, the arc of her character is crazy. Because, yeah, her speech in this is her being like, haha, everyone loved Edward. Bella loved Edward just like everybody did. Ha ha ha. And then Edward fell for her somehow, even though she's not as cool or pretty as me. Ha ha ha.
It's awesome.
Crazy.
I hope I can be friends with Anna Kendrick and get her to do a speech at a wedding. If I ever get married, that's that speech. Just want to see how everybody reacts to it. Although, at that wedding, Anna Kendrick is also having trouble because her boyfriend is super into the blonde, I don't know.
Yeah.
The foreign vampires we don't really know, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that's her trying to, like, kind of be like, I'm pretty cool though, right? And her boyfriend's
Maybe.
like, I guess, I don't know.
But, like, in the first movie, her and all the other regular people that Bella hung out with were just, like, actually good friends.
Yeah.
They were, like, actually supported her and liked her. And Anna Kendrick and the other girl even, like, helped set them up. Because there's that time he showed up and was like, oh, I want to have dinner with Bella. And they were like, oh, yeah, no, we got to go do this other thing. Bella, have fun.
That's
and then
right.
The second one, they're not really in it much, but she's still pretty supportive. And she's got that dress where she's happy about how it makes her boobs look.
Yeah.
And then in the third one, she started to get kind of weird and mean to Bella.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this one, she's full on, like, jealous person. And it's like, what happened?
Yeah. It's kind of like, you ever heard the explanation that the Dursleys are so mean to Harry Potter because he's a Horcrux? And that explains why everyone treats him so poorly? Yeah.
Get out of here.
I mean, this isn't like a theory. Well, I mean, it's a theory in the sense that no character says it in the movie, but it's fans kind of accept that.
Oh, yeah. The idea is that, like
Harry makes everyone around him mean because that's
his
what a Horcrux
influence
does.
made them unpleasant because they've lived with him for so many years.
Exactly.
Which falls apart when you remember that the beginning of the book explicitly describes them as being incredibly unpleasant people before they got him.
I mean, yeah, and but that's what she is here. She's that. She's just, the more time you spend with Bella, the more you have to, like, it drives you to madness. Because look what happened. Jacob, Anna Kendrick, the dad, obviously, his life is ruined. And probably some of the vampires, I have really hard time keeping track of which ones are which. But they don't seem like they're doing super well, you know? It's a real mess.
I mean, I buy it. Like, everyone has to put everything on the line for Bella, and I don't understand it. I don't understand.
Yeah, maybe Anna Kendrick is just a normal person who sees this entire town falling all over themselves to do everything for Bella and just increasingly going like, why though? What is happening? Why is the world like this?
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, I put it on so I could see what the other speeches were because I had forgotten this. You get the fortune teller one, and she's like, "You don't know how to dress yourself. You dumpy piece of garbage." And then the mom sings a song.
Oh my God, that was the craziest one. Yeah. It's like a lullaby. It's so weird.
She sings a lullaby, and she looks like she fell out of a tree. Like, she's got that kind of, like, it's just a disaster. That's not even the last one. Never mind. There's another one after that, and it's just the Carlisle mom, or the Cullen mom is also there.
Mm-hmm. And what might be the first dialogue she has in the whole series?
I thought that was a new character. I was convinced that wasn't anybody we've seen before. But yeah, she gives a speech that's just like, it's cool that you're our daughter, Bella, and then the end. And then Edward goes and gives a speech too.
And his own wedding.
Yeah.
It's his wedding.
It's like a roast. Like, you get up afterwards and you get to insult everybody who insulted you. And he's got his minute here.
His speech is crazy because it's talking about, like, I've been waiting so long for the person who understands me and accepts me for who I am. And if you're not a vampire at that wedding, you're like, you're an 18-year-old boy. What could you possibly be talking about?
Have you been to juvie? Like,
yeah. The terrible things that I've done, Bella could see past them because she's pure of heart and stuff. And
also, like, I've been waiting for forever. Like, my heart has called out to her. And again, like, you're 18. You haven't been looking that long.
Yeah, I feel like, listen, I've never been to a wedding like this. It seems awful. They always say,
were you not at DJ's wedding?
I don't think listen. If we were if there was an open mic at DJ's wedding, it would have been a little different. I would have had some fun times.
We came shockingly close, but the key to a wedding is a great DJ, which just this wedding didn't have. The colored wedding did not have this. And he put the kibosh on that, and I was like very happy that he stopped it from going like just buck wild.
Oh,
so,
that's you're honestly right, but it is so crucial to have a third party who can be the one that they get mad at, who's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
In this, it's Jacob, and that doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, I would say this just in general to anybody planning a wedding: just get as much dancing in as you possibly can. Cut as many speeches, cut some meals. We don't need a first, second course before dinner.
Whoa. I can't get on board with this anymore.
There's too much business. It's really just a thing where you drink and dance around a lot. Maybe 2 speeches max. I don't even really care for it when like the parents give speeches, but I get it. It's kind of the rules. But also, it's just so who's bridal party in this? This is something that really confused me.
I mean, I assumed that Anna Kendrick was the maid of honor, and that's why she gave a speech.
Yes, but who's best man?
Jacob,
right?
Explicitly calls himself best man.
He does. They say the best man is here, and I'm like, are you going to give a speech too? No, we just got done. But he wants to.
Yeah.
I guess Emmett gave them best man speech. That's what he was doing.
That sounds right. And yeah, Jacob, who we didn't talk about this. The movie starts with him doing a little kind of footloose, like, I'm so angry, all I can do is werewolf into the forest because
in the rain.
This girl that's not interested in me is getting married to somebody else. And
there ain't shit I can do about it.
Yeah. So she shows up at the wedding, and it's incredible. And I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins's, although I think we all had some version of this, which is Incel Jacob. We'll get into more of the details, but he's got a really awful arc in this movie. Just right out of the gate. Incredibly unlikable.
It's true. It's so true.
Which is a logical follow-up from the last movie.
Yeah. And that's why it's so strange to me that, like, when he shows up at the wedding and Edward's cool with him, I'm like, why are you guys should hate each other. Has he had some change of heart? And it's like, no, he still hates you so much. He will never be over this.
It's insane to me that Bella and Edward just keep giving him chances.
Yeah!
To be cool.
Honestly, it's really weird.
Like, the love triangle, I guess, does end up kind of working, because every time I think one of them can't possibly, like, be better than anybody, the other one acts worse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's it's tough, because you get Jacob here doing whatever this is, like kind of dancing with Bella behind the wedding, even though the werewolves are there. It would be totally fine if he showed up, right?
Yeah, he's allowed to be there.
Yeah, but they just don't want him there, which I totally get, because he's weird. But then he goes to dance with Bella, and he's like, hey, Bella, you're going to have sex with Jacob after you're a vampire, right? And she's like, nah. He's like, I hate you so much. You're the worst person I've ever met. It really just goes off. It's insane.
He's so... Yeah, well, first he gets kind of weird. He seems cool at first. Then he gets weird where he's like, I wanted to see the last night of you being alive. This is how I'll always remember you. And it's like, all right, buddy, we've been over this. I'm going to do the vampire thing. But then when he finds out that they're going to bone down while she's still alive... He's like, you can't! He'll kill you! Ah!
I mean, I'm kind of Team Jacob on this one.
Oh, no.
Like, no. Listen, if you know that she's gonna die from doing this thing, she shouldn't do it.
Well,
if your friend came up to you and was like, hey, I'm gonna do crystal meth tomorrow, you would be like, no, you can't do crystal meth. That's bad.
Well, DJ,
right?
Yeah, if that were the case, then yes, it would make sense. But it turns out he's super wrong.
Yeah. And also, like...
I mean, no, he's not.
Well, he's right for reasons that are not what he was implying, so therefore he is still wrong.
And also, I guess, I feel like if you're Ed, or if you're Jacob in that moment, you have to be like, listen. I know what you're going to say, but hear me out. You probably shouldn't sleep with him before you become vampire.
Yeah, listen.
But instead, he just flies off the handle like usual, and yeah.
Like, he could just be like, listen, I promise this isn't a jealousy thing. I'm just genuinely concerned for your safety. You know, there's logistical reasons that's dangerous. But no, yeah, he just flies into a jealous rage.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no chill at any point during these fucking movies. Like, his whole thing is like, I only know jealousy, and I love Bella so much. And it's weird he shows up to the wedding, if we're being super honest.
Horrible. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
If he showed up to the wedding fully intending to be like, I accept that this is happening and your friendship is important to me, I'd be like, you're on your like 6th chance, but I guess you got there, so whatever. But then it's not even that.
He also like grabs her and shit too, right? Like he's like gets all fucking. He's such a weirdo. I wanted so badly to like Jacob when we started these.
Oh, me too.
And to have that opinion of like, actually, she should have been with Jacob. But he is trying as hard as he can to make that impossible.
Well, that was a thing, right? Like, oh, Team Edward or Team Jacob. And it's like, was it really a thing? Was there anyone who was like, yeah, Team Jacob, go ahead?
Yeah, it was
like,
definitely... Listen, it was such a big cultural phenomenon, it could not possibly have not been a real thing.
But what psychos are like, yeah, this Jacob guy's on the level. There's just no way.
What psychos were like, this Edward guy's on the level?
That's fair. I think it was Team Edward or Team Alternative, and that didn't exist. Like, it was just like, in the beginning, it was like, well, I don't like this guy, so I hope there's somebody else that could, get in the middle of them. And we, any port in a storm, Jacob shows up. It's like, oh, thank God, this is the new man that she's gonna be able to fall in love with. But no, he really could not hold up.
The one person I know who, as a teen, like when I was a teen, loved Twilight, I think was Team Jacob, but we don't really talk anymore, so I can't ask her what that was about.
Like, it was like, did you have a stroke? Did you think Jacob was someone else? It's like, no, Jacob wasn't Anna Kendrick. Sorry, that wasn't the option.
That would be an interesting team. That would.
They're too morbid to ever let that happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and also, like, just go inside the wedding, dude. It's fine. Like,
your dad is there. Literally your father.
Yeah, it's like he's in a different movie, but he just, like, can't, I don't know, he's super moody, which I get, you're teenagers, whatever, but to a degree that is pretty unbelievable. But also, the wedding happens, you guys, and then they drive away and, like, walk past all their family, and it's great. Everybody waves at them, and they're like, I probably won't be in these anymore. Goodbye, Anna Kendrick.
Is that a thing, by the way, where, like, you leave first and drive away? Like, I always thought, like, the bride and groom left, like, last.
So, I've seen versions, like, there's versions of this where you do that from the church to the ceremony, or for, like, the ceremony to the actual, event. But yeah, no, not the one that they do. I don't think people do that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they do. I don't know. I mean, they did it, so who am I to say they don't? But yeah, I don't think that's how that usually works.
Doesn't normally play out like that.
No, but because I guess everybody else is just, it's one of those small towns too, where they all know each other anyway. Except it's the cult and then the small town next to each other. So it's like, that would actually be a really weird party. I think I would want to leave at that point as quickly as possible.
For sure.
But then we go to the honeymoon and spun the wheel. Diggins landed on one of yours. The promise She-Hulk didn't keep. Let's talk about that.
Listen, I've been very vocal that I demanded that She-Hulk include a scene where She-Hulk has sex so hard she breaks a bed. Yep. And they failed me.
They did.
And that's why She-Hulk is the worst Marvel show.
Hashtag MCU. Am I right?
MCU?
What are you talking about? Shang-Chi isn't in that show.
Yeah, that's true. He could be, though. They're both in the same city, right? I guess they're on the West Coast. But, it was a shame because they did it perfectly here.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah. So we get to the softcore porn. First, they wander into the ocean together naked, which I feel like would be extremely bad for you for your first time.
Well, I don't know. They're really weird.
I feel like there'd be a lot of irritants in there afterwards. It
does feel like one of those things where, like, they're kids and they really have no idea how this works and they're just kind of improvising. Except he's a
100-year-old man. Who,
exactly.
He should be, like, on the up and up.
Who implied earlier that he's never had sex. And I'm like, okay, guy, never in 100 years?
Yeah, but you've, like, heard about it, right? You know kind of some of the, get the gist of it?
But so much of that 100 years was like vampire, and you assume you just never have a chance as a vampire, right?
You have nothing but chances as a vampire. Vampires are sexy, and people want to kiss them.
Well, okay, all right, so this is getting into a weird anatomical discussion, but like...
You have no idea how prepared I am for a weird anatomical discussion, DJ. Bitch. I did research.
Oh, no. Okay, well, here's my question. How does a vampire who, and at least in this universe, right? Like, these vampires do not have blood. They have venom.
That is correct.
That's correct.
So, without the lack of blood, how are they able to, like, get ready and perform for sexual activity?
Well, DJ, Stephanie Meyer received that question so many times that I have an answer for you.
Damn it. Okay.
Even though the vampires are not placental birth.
Which they are! They are placental birth!
Well, humans are placental birth. And that's so Bella does placental, but maybe a full. Well, there's never been a vampire baby, but I don't know. Whatever.
I love that sentence.
Right.
Bella does placental.
Name of the podcast.
Thanks, James. Best director.
It's like Debbie does Dallas, but it's Bella does placental. Listen, DJ, you can't distract me from describing in detail the process of vampire sex.
Okay.
All right. So the thing about Twilight vampires is that though they appear like humans, their systems are actually completely different from a human's. Their cells specifically are not soft animal cells, but hard plant cells.
Okay.
And the reason that they move is that the venom that runs through their body is like a lubricant that allows them to like slide and move and mimic animal cells in that way.
That's wild. Okay.
Now, because of that, they are also this venom is also able to act in that way for the pubis and allow it to become hard. Now, I find this explanation to imply that he can do it at will, which I think so. Is you know what? That'd be very useful. So good on him.
And I think like for Bella in this situation, I do think she's way too cool with all of this. Like.
Right.
And I guess for this whole series, she's been like, I want to be vampire. I want to get married to you. And he's been like, no, let's not. And she's like, I don't care. I'm doing it. But at this point, I feel like, man, you got to figure out like that, not like that contract in 50 Shades of Grey, but like some sort of like, all right, here's what this is going to be like. It's like me picking up a car. Is that cool with you? No, it's not. All right, well, we got to scratch that off the list. Because, the whole broken bed thing, how is she not dead?
She gets some bruising. She can see some harsh bruising.
Walloped. Oh my God, she's gonna have a hard time going through customs. People are gonna be giving her looks.
True. So here's my thing about this. Obviously, the bruises are really bad, and if that ever happens in real life, that's horrible. Especially if you did not consent to that level of roughness ahead of time, and like you shouldn't be doing that. That being said. Everything we've been told up until this point is that vampire sex is so wildly dangerous that it will instantly decapitate her. And so the fact that she goes through a whole night of boning nonstop and she's just got a few bruises on her that she doesn't even seem to notice that much, like, that seems fine by comparison.
That's true. It is a very, she got off easy considering how it had been described. Do you think Jake or Edward just didn't know? It was like, if we have sex, your head will explode. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because he didn't know shit.
Yeah, he's just making it up.
He's fundamentally useless.
Well, he read that article, Man of Steel, Woman of Kleenex, and he thought that that's what it would turn out like.
Oh my God.
Oh man. Yeah, it's. He's a problem.
Right. So, but honestly, though, listen, guys. Having sex so hard in a bed that the bed falls up to pieces and you wake up the next morning and there's feathers everywhere and the wood has like splintered. It's pretty good.
Oh yeah. It's so
pretty
fun.
Good.
It's very good. In
I
this
think the only time I legitimately laughed in the movie is when the housekeepers come and they look at the bed and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway, what were you going to say, DJ? Sorry.
It's okay. So, because Dan, apparently you're our foremost expert on vampire sex.
I have more ways I can answer your questions.
Well, because my follow-up is, he can use his venoms to make himself perform, but, like, she gets pregnant. So, like, did, like, venom hit her eggs?
Yes.
Is like that? God damn, what the fuck?
The venom is also capable of assuming a form in which it copies his DNA and can act as a sperm. And so, yes, he used venom to make himself hard and then ejaculated more venom into her, which was able to impart his DNA into her eggs and get her pregnant.
Like, this is why, right, maybe if Jacob would do this reasonably, like, look, if you're gonna fuck, have him turn you first, otherwise you will die because you're being shot up with venom.
Or use a goddamn condom, you freaks!
Yeah.
Also, yeah, right?
Yeah, that's true. What's wrong with the kids these days? Honestly, like, we're probably exactly the same age as these characters when this movie came out. But, like, no, I guess we were older than them. This is 2011.
Like 4 or 5 years older.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 or 4, okay, yeah.
But, like, yeah, where did they... I mean, Diggins, this is a question for you. Could a condom not withstand the might of the venom? Would it just
That's
destroy
true. Would
it?
it, like, burn the venom or whatever?
Yeah.
She has never answered that. I assume, on account of the Mormonism I keep bringing up, she simply forgot that condoms were an option.
What if you, like, dip the condom in garlic or something? Would that... or, like, holy condoms or whatever? I mean, none of that exists.
I don't think...
these,
none of that is a weakness of vampires in this world.
No.
They have no weaknesses, right? They're just like, they got to feed.
They're weak to being killed, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the only one
they're
we
all
see.
morons.
I mean, their heads come off pretty easy. Their heads pop right off.
Let me tell you, it's only going to get worse from here.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, so how about that? They have sex, and then they play chess, and then she gets pregnant. What the heck is going on?
Sex a couple times, to be fair. It's
Yeah,
not like
no,
it
that-
wanted
Well, they have
done.
sex once, and she's, like, not cool with it, and then she's really cool with it.
DJ, she was cool with it the whole time. He's the
Oh,
one
right, he's
not
not.
cool
yeah.
with it.
Right, he becomes not cool with it, and then she's super. Yeah,
And-
he becomes okay with it.
You know what? I do kind of appreciate in these movies how consistently horny Bella is. Bella is
Yeah,
always
right?
the one who wants to fuck.
Yeah, it's true.
That's right. And Jacob...
Good for her. She's a woman who knows what she wants, right? That's like good for her.
I mean, sure, except she wants to fuck the monster man who keeps saying he's going to kill her during it. And she's like, I don't care. It's like, what do you expect Jacob to do when he comes home with a headless corpse? Like, sorry, I kept telling her not to, but she wouldn't stop, so I did, and then now she's dead. What was it you were saying, Dad, about all those guns you own?
Yeah, right?
I feel like... So, we've also been told that if he has sex with her while she's human, he'll get into such a frenzy of bloodlust that he will eat her and she'll die. And that doesn't even come up. Like, he doesn't have any problem with that whatsoever.
Well, I read that as that's when he's like breaking the bed, is he's like crushing the headboard with his hands because he's so, he's got so much frustration because he just wants to eat her up.
Oh, I figured that was just the usual, like, when you do a sex, you grip stuff sometimes because of how hot the sex is. And
possible.
except he's super strong, so when he does that, he breaks stuff.
Oh, God. And speaking of that, I mean, we haven't really gotten into too much of it, although there are several powers on display during the wedding ceremony setup. But, man, this is the Flash is... We've got the best speed on camera so far in these movies. There's a lot of Jacob zipping and zapping around, or Edward, excuse me, in this first, bit. But, yeah, there's also spun the wheel, lots of chess. It's one of DJ's.
Oh, my God, there's so much chess. So, during their honeymoon, there's, 2 or 3 instances where they're playing chess. Michelle told me that this is because it's the cover, and it's like a nice little
But that feels
like Easter egg for the fan.
Well, but did it happen in the book too? Did they play chess in the book?
She couldn't remember.
Fair enough.
If it was so during their honeymoon they played chess. She led me to believe that a lot more of what happens in the beginning part is more of the follow-on and explanation of what's going on with the wolf tribes, where they sprinkle it into this movie, but it's not really there. That's a lot more of what's happening regarding the wedding. It's not the wedding itself, but it's the consequences of the wedding. That's more of what's going on. I don't know why that wasn't in this movie.
It's too interesting.
It shouldn't it have been?
Yeah,
They were
I think
like,
that might be it.
that sounds like it. That sounds like it would feel like something was happening. We can't have that in this movie.
Is it our teen audience would be able to watch Game of Thrones with wolves and vampires on our movie screen? So no, it's chess and sex and just a lot of softcore humping. Is that what we're gonna do?
By the way, what is the Twilight fan opinion of this movie? What does Michelle have to say for herself?
She does not think this movie is very good. Okay. She does not.
Did she think it was good at the time it came out?
I did not ask. I mean, I think she would admit that being of at the age, especially when the first Twilight movie came out, of that core teen demographic that's I loved it. I was Team Edward and was super into this movie.
Listen, if you were a teenager, that's just a blanket pardon on anything you liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially things like this that are made to satisfy teenagers by being like,
tricky,
oh, here's
right?
the wedding and all the stuff you want.
I want to be clear. I'm not being like, if you ever liked Twilight, you're a stupid moron idiot. Like, listen, I liked plenty of dumb stuff when I was a teen. I don't think this is very good now as an adult, but if you liked it, that's fine. It was made for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, it's like clearly like it doesn't hold up because like she's been watching all these movies with me for the first time in like forever, and it's like, oh yeah, this is pretty bad. There's nothing happening in this movie. There's one line that so it's not this part, and I don't like care. I guess if we jump ahead or whatever, but there was one line where she like burst out laughing at the stupidity of it. Could you guess what that line is?
Oh gosh, there's so many choices.
Is it like something that happens like around this time, or is it something later?
No, it's much later.
Oh yeah,
I
think it's that line that we talked about before.
Okay,
the
most
absolute
sacred whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
that line is insanely
burst out
cranky.
laughing. Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, it just like was in stitches over that line.
I was gonna say before we move off the chess, it does feel like one of those things where you go on vacation and it's like, what are we gonna do during the day? There's a chessboard in here. Do you play chess? Okay, and then that's just like what you do. Maybe it's rainy.
That's why I'm not a big fan of the like, oh, we just go out to some random beach or some cabin and that's the whole vacation. It's like, yeah, but what do you like do? Can you really just sit on a beach for a week?
I mean, like,
some people can, and more power to them, but I'm not built that way.
So admittedly, and maybe this is a me and Michelle thing, and maybe. And I guess admittedly this will be different now that we have the babe. But a lot of what we did when we like would go on vacations and stuff is like we would bring like a board game to play, like a 2-player board game for like the evening time and stuff.
Well, that's fine.
I don't know if that's like a thing people don't do.
My point is just like at this little cabin they have off the coast of Brazil, it's like they got a nice beach and they got this nice house. And I guess it's their honeymoon, so they could, if they were a normal couple, they would fill most of their time with fucking. But, like, if you're just taking a normal vacation to this little house in the middle of nowhere off the coast of Brazil, like, what are you doing with your day?
So if I could accentuate that point, Diggins, I'll put a finer point on it. So, friend of the show, Alex Lee and I, one time we went to Cooperstown for the Baseball Hall of Fame, and there's nothing there except the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's just, it's nothing. And we had rented an Airbnb that was just like a house, and there's no internet, there's no cable. It's just like a fucking house. And once you do all the like baseball and like Hall of Fame and like all the crap around there's nothing. So like we just went back to the house, like sat around and drank, and we're like, yeah, this is like, it's weird when like you just don't have like a thing to do. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's the difference between like a vacation and a trip. I feel like you went on a trip and she's on a vacation, but I do think like they're in like beautiful Costa Rica or whatever where they're just like doing cliff diving or Brazil, right? Yeah. But yeah, they're doing like all they could explore a little bit, but it's also one of those things where it's like, we're in this nice, really, really, really nice like house. I want to spend some time in the house. It's so nice. Obviously the beach is nice too. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing interesting to do, but it's just like that, like, it's like, well, we are here. Like, and that's the problem. You need to get a crappy hotel room that's so bad that you force yourself out every single night. That's how you have a good vacation. For
me, it's just like, if I was in the house, I would probably end up doing the things that I always do, because it's just a nice house for me to sit around and do things in. If I'm on a vacation, I want to be doing things I would not be doing normally.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, these two, right, it's like they have no interests or hobbies or anything that makes them interesting.
Hey, how dare you? I
guess they like chess.
Bella loves her car, her big dumb pickup.
Right. God, how has that not come up? But yeah, so like, what are they gonna do in a nice house on the beach? Like, they're just gonna play chess and fuck.
Yep.
Like,
and I mean, listen, for a honeymoon, maybe that's all you need. I've never been on a honeymoon. DJ, was your honeymoon mostly playing chess and fucking?
It seems like
the answer is no.
Oh, you guys are cutting out. It seems like this whole trip was actually like, but that's the thing. This honeymoon feels like it's like a month long. I can't tell how much time passes.
It is.
Yeah,
and I can't tell how much time passes in any of this movie.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those. Yeah.
We kind of get an idea on the phone call with the dad. I feel like we get like a loose idea. Where it's like, oh, you've been gone for 3 weeks. That's longer than we thought. And she's like, yeah, we're staying a little while. I got sick. So it feels like it's like a month, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right. Which, like, cool. You know, I can't even, like, imagine vacation for a month like that.
I must say, I was shocked she was still talking to the father. You gotta cut ties, man. Like, you gotta just, like, let it go.
I mean, I feel like you really don't, and they're being unnecessarily draconian about that. But yeah, since they are like, you can never talk to your family again, then yeah, she should probably be laying the groundwork faster than this.
Yeah, it's a great point.
That you have to fake your death, I feel like, in that scenario. Like, your car, like, the car ran off a cliff. And it's like, oh, no survivors. Like, that has to be the play. So then you just, do what you want.
Yeah, I don't know, because you have to do it in a way that's, like, not going to cause your father irreparable, suffering. And I wonder what the best version of that is. You, like, go do a heroic, like, kind of like how when any member of the boys dies, they always pretend they were on some super secret mission in Afghanistan and they got killed during action like that, where he's like, oh, my Bella was so great. She stopped that nuclear weapon that one day and gave her life for this country. Impossible. Yeah, like, is that what we need? I think that might be it.
Okay, that's solid. Ooh, that could have been a fake one. What if she was like, I'm enrolling in the army?
Yeah.
Like, that could have been a very good, like, cover.
Yeah, that's true. CIA or something. Like, I'll send you pictures, or, like, I'll send you postcards, but we can never talk. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Becoming a mafia hitman.
Yeah.
I was going to say become a criminal. Mm-hmm. Become a terrible criminal.
And then they would have the ultimate irony of her dad was a cop, but now she is the criminal. Ooh.
We have proposed about 7 different better movies. Even the outlandish scenarios, it's like, yeah, that's a movie. Bella runs away and becomes a criminal. Her dad has to hunt her. Yeah. And then in a twist, Dad finds out the secret, becomes a vampire hunter.
Ooh, that would be great. Oh my god, that would be so good. Yeah, they should do that.
Like, yeah, and it's like, I won't hunt my daughter, but I must hunt Edward. Edward is now my foil. So, free ideas, Stephanie Myers, if you want to write some more books.
I'm gonna spin the wheel. Oh man, here we go. We got some good stuff. So we're back to Incel Jacob, but also Kill the Beast. So, do you guys remember the scene where all the wolves are mumbling to each other telepathically?
Yeah. Oh my god.
It was weird as hell.
It was impossible to follow.
Did they do that in the last one?
No.
Right? What are they thinking? That this is cool? They were wrong. It's not cool. It's weird. I didn't like it. It was mumbling.
It felt so much like they did it completely, like, as an afterthought. Like, they filmed the scene of all the wolves just, like, barking and snapping at each other. And then we're like, this is too hard to follow. Let's put dialogue over it. Because the dialogue is going so fast.
Well, I would believe that, except the problem is it's also just a bunch of CGI bullshit wolves jumping around and stuff. So, like, it's really nothing unless they filmed a forest and went, what would wolves be saying if they were here? Like, America's Funniest Home Videos, kind of like, hey, Jacob, come over here, Jacob.
I mean, they could have animated the whole thing, assuming there would be no dialogue, and then when they rendered it out and it was, like, ready to be put in the movie, they watched it and was like, oh no, this makes no sense. Slap some dialogue over to fix it.
Yeah, it's not good. There was one bit specifically where a couple of wolves, bad, enemy wolves, to Jacob, obviously, are talking, and they're kind of saying, like, we gotta go kill the baby. And they do, it really feels like the 3 lead-up lines to, let's go kill the beast that get Gaston going. I don't remember what they are, but I was like, that's what this is.
It's also, like, a completely, like, 180-degree turn from how everyone else has been acting. All the wolves have been acting this whole movie, because every wolf that's not Jacob is like, come on, man, she wants to be a vampire. Like, this is just how it is. You got to get over it. Like, we're not going to make a big deal out of this. They're not breaking the spirit of the treaty. They're not hurting her. Just forget about it. And then the second they find out there's a pregnancy, they're like, we have to murder this baby. This is unacceptable.
It's like Fast and Furious 6 when they're in NATO and they find out that, like, Brian's kids have been kidnapped or whatever. It's like, this changes everything.
Yeah.
It's the pregnancy changes everything.
It really does. And
the rest of the stakes don't matter. It's one very specific thing happened, which changes everything.
I do think
those are the rules.
I think it's really funny when Jacob goes to talk to Bella and he, like he yells at her a little bit because he's awful. But he also, like, yells at Jacob more, or yells at Edward more. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what more you want me to do. I keep telling her not to marry me and not to have sex with me, but she just won't stop. Like,
she's like a dog with a bone.
Yeah, I'm on your side, man. It's not a good idea, but I don't know. She just really hates you, I guess. She's doing this all to get back at you. So I don't know. Go run into the woods and stuff. He really is insufferable in this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true.
I again just feel like the bar was set so high last movie that he's a little bit under that bar.
I mean, like, every scene he's in ends with him storming off after a fight with Bella. Like, he's just...
I'm not saying he doesn't suck. He does.
Oh, man. Yeah, I can't do it. He's something about him, too, being the focus of this movie. And, like, having to be the guy that's like, no, wolves, don't... I don't know. It's weird. Because... So what do the werewolves want?
To kill a baby.
Why?
Yeah, because it'll, I don't know, upset the balance of vampire and werewolf.
It's dangerous for
It
reasons.
can eat all the people.
It is dangerous in ways that regular vampires aren't for unexplained reasons.
That's what it seems
like. It'll eat all the people. The baby will just go on a rampage, I guess.
And, like, vampires don't have babies, right? That's how it usually
works. Right, yeah. Vampires are... Well, I guess vampire women are barren. Vampire men are not sterile.
They don't have, like, venom eggs or whatever that could, like...
Remember that was a big plot point, well, not a big plot point, but a thing that came up in the last movie, because Rosalie was like, I'm a monster now because I can't have a children. The only thing women are for.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, so, like, the wolves are like, we gotta get that baby. And Jacob's like, I don't want you to do that. And they're all like, but we're gonna, though. And we haven't really talked about him. Let's talk about the other best character in the movie besides the dad, who's always the best. What's the name of little Jimbo baby wolf? I don't remember his name.
Seth.
Let's talk about Seth. What's his deal? Was he in the other ones?
He was in the last one.
Yeah, I remember him.
I think maybe...
Prove it. Prove he was in it. You can't.
I can, by showing you him.
He was, like, inducted, like, into their werewolf gang, or
the
wolf
he
gang,
became
too.
A werewolf last movie. And I think he helped out in the final battle. Like, he distracted one of the vampires for a minute.
Oh, good.
I do kind of remember this.
It's good to be helpful.
He's great. Someone, like, it's funny because he's still, like, kind of a weirdo because all the werewolves, the wolf is just, they all speak very strangely, and I don't know. They're all just, they do a lot of standing around. I guess the rest of them do too. But instead of being like sulky,
a lot of standing around or wrestling each other shirtless.
They love that, yeah. But yeah, instead of having like cat energy, much like the Cullens, they have like, you know, puppy energy. And it's just very strange. But yeah, he wants to be cool and help and stuff. He has his own little subplot. Good for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
good for
if
him,
you
I
can
guess.
call it that, where he's just basically like, hey, Jacob, I don't think it's cool to murder babies either.
Yeah. This whole thing's pretty much a subplot of the next movie. So the subplot.
I mean, because this movie like is void of any plot whatsoever, any 3 lines can be a subplot. It's like, oh, look, a subplot.
I suppose I feel like calling it murder babies is probably a little inflammatory given what his actual situation. All I mean is their instant response to finding out that a vampire baby could exist is it must die right now. Not because of the things that are happening to Bella. That's why I'm putting it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't think you're wrong.
I mean, I spun the wheel again. It landed on one of DJ's. Speaking of this, it's not your decision to keep the vampire baby alive. It's the government's. No, it's a movie about abortion a little bit, kind of.
What?
Yeah, there's some like tones of it there. Well, so
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
You're telling me that this plot line where a woman is pregnant with a child that is literally killing her and she cannot bear, but refuses to do anything that would save her life but involve getting rid of the child because of the precious gift of life or whatever. I don't understand how that could possibly be about abortion.
See, okay, so it would be about abortion if any of the things mapped to any real life like decisions and stuff. But no, I don't think the problem with this whole thing is like the arguments everybody's making to Bella are like, this will not work. You will die. We know this for a fact. The baby will die too. It's not worth doing. And she's just like, nah, I won't. And like, I feel like that kind of messes up the whole metaphor, right?
Well, and you have this tension too, where it's like, you know, what Edward is like referring to, like it is inside her, get it out, and Bella's like, no, he is inside me, our child is inside me, and Edward's like not buying it.
And even more pointedly, Alice is like, the fetus is dangerous, and Rosalie's like, say baby. That's what it is. It's a baby.
Oh, that part was
By the
weird.
way, so apparently Michelle was explaining to me, this is better explained in the book, but like Bella says, all right, go get Rosalie. because like Rosalie's the key to making sure that the Cullens just don't murder the fetus baby instantly.
Oh, I got that.
But like, why?
I just told you, DJ, if you were listening to me.
Oh, during her like sad little
because
story.
she's
I don't know.
Not being able to have a child makes me a monster, so she understands how much Bella wants to have a child.
I don't buy that. I don't buy it. I don't know. I don't buy it.
It's like literally one of the 2 personality traits she has.
It's like it's so thin, and it doesn't come up in this movie, right?
No, they just assume you remember.
Very thin. I don't know.
Of course it's thin. Every character in the movie is thin.
Okay.
Except the dad.
Except the dad.
I just like one little get Rosalie, she something something, mom something something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so let's talk about the pregnancy in general. Because
Also, wait, hold on. I do have to respond to you, Nando, which is like, you would think that saying things like that would make it not map onto a real life scenario, and any reasonable person would agree to that. But if you simply turn your eyes to the right here and look at some of the bills that have been getting passed, you would find that, no, if you're deep in the weeds on this stuff, you genuinely are like, even in situations where the mother would absolutely 100% die, you have to wait until the last possible moment before you can do anything, just in case.
it's just a whole movie of people being like, hey, Bella, listen, I get it. You really want to do these things, but we're vampires, and we know how vampires work. And she's like, that's not it. That's not it. And then they'd go, it is. And then she's right every time. It's like, why are you guys even vampires? You have no idea how any of this shit goes. And this is just another one of those.
To be fair, like, this was a first for them, because vampires weren't boning humans. This wasn't like a thing you had to worry about.
I mean, that's absurd to me. It is absolutely absurd to me that no vampire has been boning a human.
Well, I guess not in like the form of, you know what it is? The Volturi probably kill them immediately.
Or
if there's even a whiff of it, they go and they fucking just kill him.
Or maybe Edward is like a super weak vampire, and normally having sex with a vampire does kill you.
Yeah.
Or it does drive you crazy with bloodlust when you have sex with a human. So it's just that vampires have sex with humans all the time. They just don't live through it.
Okay, that's fair. That's why there are no pregnancies. It's just DOA. You just like,
yeah,
you're done.
But this baby lives inside Bella because she's the chosen one and stuff, and it basically turns her into a little like skeleton. Very upsetting.
It was bad to look at when she was on the slab.
Very bad.
Yeah. Also, it grows so fast. Like it kicks from like, you know, it's been like 2 weeks. And it's already
not kicking. Even when she first realizes her period is late, it's kicking.
Yeah. So the vampire baby grows super aggressively.
You're saying
it's sapping her life.
Is that not how it usually? You DJ, you're the only first-hand experience with pregnancy here. Is that not how it works?
I can say that not how it normally works. Believe it or not, it usually takes about a month. Not so little off.
Honestly, that is sooner than I thought.
Oh, fuck. I was fucking around. It's not a month. It's like second trimester. It's like 20 weeks.
Okay.
It's like way
That's
deep
more
in.
like what I thought.
That's what
my bad. Yeah, I was trying to make a joke.
No, that's on me.
Minutes.
That's on me. You just how completely ignorant I am of pregnancy that I was like, I guess that's possible.
Did you know the baby comes out of the butt?
Well, only butt babies.
What would your baby be doing in there? Like after month 1, okay, so I grew a whole body and stuff, so just gonna get you put a newspaper in here or something.
Listen,
not really a whole lot to do.
So vampire gestation is very brief, or whatever. Like the rules are very unclear, and we're in uncharted territory, so it's fine, I guess.
And Bella is sick. It's killing her, so she decides to do what, you guys? How did they combat the vampire baby poisoning her from the inside?
Well, for about 30 minutes, they don't do anything.
Oh, yeah, they're just like, what? Shrug. But then they go to 7-Eleven and they get a big gulp of of like cherry soda.
It's really weird that they do it like that. Why do they do it like that?
I don't know.
Edward does say he did it like that so that it would be easier for her to drink it.
Oh, like
it's just visually odd. It's really weird.
Yeah, I think the idea was that she wouldn't have to look at it and like face the fact that she's drinking blood.
I mean, again, Bella is so down for all this shit. She would have drank blood
she wants
for
this.
fun. That could have been a honeymoon thing. It's fine.
I guess in Bella's defense, if I was like literally being killed, like wasting away into nothing, into a CGI skeleton, and someone was like, maybe this would work, I'd be like, fuck it, I'll try it.
Yeah, like, it sounds like something they would have done in the olden days. Drink a pint
Fear
of
Factor.
blood, miss. That will get your
It's
baby
the
to quiet
exact
down.
opposite of what they did in the olden days, which
That's
is to use
true.
leeches to get the blood out.
That's true. What do you think you did with all the leeches full of blood? You gave them to the poors, and they, saw if that worked. They put the blood
that was
back
their
in.
version of Fear Factor.
Yeah.
With poor people. They had them, like, eat weird stuff and just jump off buildings or whatever.
Yeah.
This new Fear Factor is amazing.
Is there a new Fear Factor?
I'm saying, like, new Fear Factor would be 2003 Fear Factor. Old Fear Factor is, like, 1241 Fear Factor.
Gotcha. I can't even imagine what
what they
current
were
Fear
doing.
Factor would be.
You know what they were doing.
Like putting you in a
Working
big
in the
iron
fields for
maiden
their
and
entire
throwing
lives.
you down into the ocean.
What would the Joe Rogan equivalent have been in, like, the 13th century? Just some guy being like, this magic powder is amazing, man.
Oh, yeah, some dipshit
question.
baron who's into mysticism or something.
No, he'd have
He's
to be an
like-
athlete or something. Like that's how he makes
Yeah.
it into the. Or I guess he's a comedian, so whatever that is,
A jester.
William Shakespeare or something. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, one of those guys, one of those like people who we think are poets and we think they're really smart. We're just like dorks, and all their poems are basically podcasts where they hawk supplements. It's pretty good. Speaking
Guys,
of,
once you take DMT, your life's never the same again, okay? You're like, what the fuck is a monarchy? You gotta open your mind.
It's like, sometimes I think the gods don't even divinely ordain the blood of kings and give them the right to rule, you know? And then he's executed.
yeah, and then the next week he has the king on the podcast, and the king's like, they do that, and he goes, oh, interesting.
Wow,
And he
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Have we checked on that? No? All right. I was going to say, speaking of names of people, I spun the wheel again. It landed on one of Diggins' names as a form of child abuse. So we're keeping the baby. The baby is being raised. What's the baby going to be named?
Oh, man. This is maybe the least comprehensible thing for me in the entire movie.
Okay?
And I have an argument. Everything else that's insane that happens is like there because it appeals to the demographic of the teen audience or whatever, or it has to exist for the plot to happen. Like the werewolves have to get mad for no reason so that there can be a conflict at the end. Or, vampires can get people pregnant because that has to be what happens for the story to happen. Whatever. It's all objectively crazier, but, like, I understand the story reason for why it exists. Why is Bella the worst name giver in the history of humankind? It's so easy to not do this.
Well, for people that haven't seen the movie, take a little guess. You kind of have heard us talk about Bella and Jacob and Edward and all those guys. Just guess what you think her name is going to be that she gives the baby. Even if you don't know what it is, guess why it will be whatever it is.
She gives two names. She gives a name for a boy and a name for a girl.
Yeah. So think about that in your head. Hold that. And then, so Diggins, I don't remember. What's the boy name?
The boy name is EJ.
Oh my God, that's right.
For Edward and Jacob.
What an awful name.
That'd be a terrible name. Edward Jacob Cullen.
Can you imagine your name being a sound similar to EJ? Awful.
Oh, yeah. Just fate worse than death.
Can you imagine, like, who are you named after? I'm named after my dad. And this other guy that just fucking keeps
his
yelling
rival.
at my mom. Yeah, I don't know what their deal is. I feel like maybe she kissed him once and he just could not get over it.
That's like Ash Ketchum being like, my son, you are named Ash Gary Ketchum.
No, it'd be if he was named Ash Mr. Mime Ketchum.
And then the girl name, which is somehow, I guess EJ. So is EJ just E and J, or is
It's
it
not
spelled
clear.
out
Yeah,
phonetically like the Street Fighter character?
I would have to check the book to know how it's supposed to be spelled. This is a visual medium.
I assume that the full name would have been Edward Jacob Cullen. Like, I really do think that would have been E.J. Cullen. Edward
Maybe.
Jacob.
I mean, EJ is nothing, but Edward Jacob, I guess, would be acceptable.
Wait, hold on a second. What am I reading right now?
What?
Vampire
I,
porn.
I googled this to try to figure out what the name, how you would spell it, because I'm sure this was somewhere. Okay, never mind. So there's a there's a fake wiki for a kid that this is. that I guess exists in fan fiction specifically, who is the brother that would come after the kid from the movie. So I guess this is just a fan fiction thing.
Okay.
But I was curious because for a second I was like, I don't think that happens in the next movie. Although it's so fast, maybe you could just miss it. Like, you know, she's like, oh yeah, they had a son earlier.
Well, they can't have another kid, right? Because she's a vampire now, and she's barren.
Oh yeah, so where does it come from in the wiki? All right, anyway. So what's the girl name? Because it's way worse.
The girl name is named after her and Edward's parents, Renee and Esme. And she decides the best way to honor both of those people is to combine the names into Renesmee.
Now, do you think there's a bunch of these running around your real
There
life?
are. There actually are.
Okay. Yeah, that's awful. Poor
Really?
kids.
Renesmee?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a Daenerys situation, I'm sure. And, like, if your name is that, cool. Maybe it's cool. I don't know. It seems like a name.
I mean, it's not your fault.
It's not your fault if your name is bad. Your parents gave it to you.
Yeah.
I
mean,
Like,
unless
you think Elon's son is like, oh god, I love the Alpha name or whatever is like, you know.
Unless you legally changed it and it's still bad, then that's your fault.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess with this one, my biggest problem with Renesmee, it's not that I think it's a bad name. Because if
Although
I
it
met
is.
someone with that name, I'd be like, that's a weird name, but sure. Spelling it must be, like, explaining it to someone. Like, you'd
Oh,
be
God,
on the
yeah.
phone, like, oh, what's your name, Renesmee? What? Renesmee. And, like, it would not track.
And you got to be like, oh, is that a family name? No, it's fucking Twilight.
It's a portmanteau of a Twilight character and another Twilight character, neither of which really get talked about that much. So it's not even like it's like, you know, Daenerys plus Jaime Lannister. So it's just random characters might as well be.
Also, if you're Twilight stans, go with Bella. Why would you just name your kid Bella?
A lot of people did pick Isabella.
Oh, there were a lot of Bellas, yeah. And
But that's not bad. That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. You can like a person could hear that name and be like, "Were you named after Twilight?" And you can say no, and they'll be like, "That's believable."
Yep, you just lie. You just totally lie.
If you're Renesmee, everybody knows.
yeah, I mean, if you want to be fancy, just do Rosalie. That's like a weird name, but it's like a name, and it's Twilight adjacent, at least. I don't think it was invented by them, so that could be your name.
That is an existing name. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, she invented a name. Why do you think they did this?
I don't know, because even the characters in the movie are like, this is an incredibly bad name.
Yeah.
Did they get the rights to it?
I
Did they,
I wonder.
they trademark it, so anyone uses Renesmee, we get all the money.
Yeah, if they have like Renesmee.com or something, and like no one would want that, but now they would want that. I don't know, because it's such a weird name.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
It's truly, this is what I'm saying. It is the most baffling thing in the movie to me, because it exists for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, so then they have the baby by accident. Not accident, but like this big surprise, and it's
Yeah,
awful.
'cause Carlisle and the mom, whose name I forget and I'm not sure we're ever told, leave to go get more blood with
Yeah.
Jacob's help. But then Bella goes into labor while they're gone, which is unfortunate because Carlisle's a doctor.
Yeah, and I mean, he doesn't really know what to do with this either, but at least he'd probably be a little bit helpful. 'Cause,
He'd have some kind of baseline he could work off of.
yeah, but yeah. Diggins, do you want to describe this scene?
Oh boy. So Bella goes into labor. She's having the baby. First we find out she goes into labor because she her spine snaps in half.
broke in half.
Like
Yeah,
you can
that was
hear the
wild.
crunch of it. It's disgusting. And you see, and
that shit was
they
wild.
CGI her actually bending at an unnatural angle. It's really bad. And then they put her up on a delivery table that they just have, I guess. I mean, I guess it's been weeks. I guess they could have gotten it anyway. And she starts going into labor. They get Carlisle on the phone to be like, what do we do? And I'm not sure he's much help, because eventually Rosalie just takes a scalpel and goes to town on Bella's tummy.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We see a lot of blood from that, which isn't great.
And she's about to oh god, I'm going to freak out. And then, whatever.
Because of
And
all
the
the
camera
blood.
is going crazy throughout this.
Oh yeah,
like-
oh my god, there's a part of this I love so much where Bella has is making pained faces as we cut between her and Edward doing things, and
Yeah.
one of them does a The Office style zoom in on her face, where it's just it looks like she's about to turn to the camera and be like, "Can you believe this shit?"
I mean, there's also a lot of like first person, Bella perspective shots. And you could tell not just because the thing tells you, but also there's like that little vignette around it that's supposed to be like her eyes. And so it's like we're giving birth to Renesmee in real time.
Right.
Love to see this in one of those 4DX theaters where like spray shit at you and stuff. That'd be pretty fun, right?
Ugh. So Edward is like,
so lucky.
Takes the scalpel and does some cutting also, and then he like tears her open physically with his hands, and then he gets down and does it with his mouth also.
Now,
well, I guess like his teeth are like better than a scalpel.
But like, so what's going on here? Because this is where Rosalie gets thrown out of the room,
right? Because she's like going blood mad.
Yeah,
right.
She's about to eat Bella,
and none of the rest of them are, I guess.
Jacob's in there.
Well, Jacob's there, Edward's there, and then the other one takes Rosalie out of the room, so she's not involved anymore. But
right, it's just the three of them at this point.
And like, man, Jacob, you have not done anything good. Why are you still in this movie? Like, it's just insane that he's still here.
It's like he's there to be like, I told you so. I told you so. It's the only reason he's here.
So, No, I believe I had a name for the wheel slice about this.
I spun the wheel, but you could say it.
So, we're going to play a fun little game here, everybody, which is the name of this wheel slice. DJ rates how accurate the delivery scene is. DJ, as the only person here who has firsthand experienced the delivery of a baby, we would love your insights.
Yeah, so I'll go like a little bit behind the curtain. I don't think I'm really betraying any confidences here, but so my wife did have a seat.
I think the delivery of babies is pretty public knowledge.
It was gonna be the other thing,
right.
That my wife did have a C-section involved in the birth of our baby.
So even more accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do it with the scalpel?
And your teeth?
Did not.
Yeah,
I did
pulled
not.
the doctor away and just...
Did you call the doctor on the phone so he could tell you the precise way to bite open your wife's stomach?
So if I were to rate this, like, I think I'd give it like a 2 because a baby does come out and there's a lot of blood. I think that's like the only accurate things that happen in this.
Is there a scalpel involved? Because that's another thing.
So what's crazy about the like being in the room for the C-section? First of all, it's like crazy that you're there.
Yeah.
But they kind of got this like shit down to a science. But there's like a little privacy curtain. So I'm up there with Michelle, like holding her hand, and they have her like numbed, like basically like neck down, just like not feeling a thing.
Epidural,
you're awake during it. Yeah. So like they're like, okay, we're like going in, and like you don't hear a lot. You hear like a couple of you hear like a whir of some like machine equipment, and it's like, all right, we're going, and then it's like quiet, and then you just hear like your baby cry, and it's like fucking beautiful. But like, and then they like hold it up above the privacy curtain, and yeah, it's like covered in blood, but like you don't see shit like that's going on. Now, I will say, so my experience was, and like I kind of have a partially regret, partially don't. I think I told you guys about this, but so that they do the thing where it's like, all right, Dad, like come here, and they're just like, you take pictures, click, click, click. Here's your baby. They weigh him and they like clean him up. They have you cut the umbilical cord, which like that was cool. And that was with scissors, not with a scalpel. So that was that. But then, like, your partner is, like, there on the table, like, totally cut open, and, like, I was, like, morbidly curious, and I, like, looked over, and I just saw that, like, all our fucking organs were out just like, on the operating table, and I almost died.
Like the
I shouldn't have looked. But I looked.
You were going to do a WandaVision after that. You told me. It was so traumatizing.
Yeah. I was going to be like, sorry, Morristown. We're a whole different thing now.
I do feel like, just in general, that I have never been curious about that kind of thing.
Okay.
I cannot imagine a situation where I would do that. However, I can see myself forgetting about that for a second and then just glance and go, oh no. Like, that I feel like that's how I would end up in that situation.
It was purposeful. I was like, because I knew, because like there's a minute where it's after they weigh him, after you cut the umbilical cord, and they're like cleaning him up and swaddling to like, for me to go with him to the nursery. So you have like I'd say 30 seconds of downtime. And, like, I hear them in the back doing all, like, the cleaning of stuff, and I'm like, I have to fucking look, and I shouldn't have looked.
I would full-on pass out. I couldn't do it.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of mental prep that goes on when it's, like, because it wasn't, like, a surprise C-section. Like, we knew about the C-section like hours ahead of time. Like we knew it was going to happen. So like you kind of just like get ready.
I mean, I don't even like hearing about medical stuff, or surgeries and stuff. So like, I don't think it would matter how prepared I was. I would pass out.
That's fair. I mean, you just wouldn't look, right? You would
if I'm ever in that
blinders on,
If I'm ever in that situation, I know myself well enough. I could not look.
Yeah. I mean, childbirth is a miracle, and these I shouldn't say yahoos, these amazing people, these doctors and nurses, they're just treating it like it's like a Wednesday. They're like, yeah, man, let's go to the Knicks game tonight,
Well, to them it is. They do this all the time.
That's wild.
Yeah, actually, it's probably a bigger disaster for them to go to a Knicks game.
I was going to say, yeah. Got off lucky there. Those doctors would have come in that next day after a big loss in a real bad mood. Really distracted by how much money they lost. I feel like the idea of, even just describing this scene to me is making me upset enough that it's like, oh my God, I can't even. I'm like, yeah, it's, ugh. And you don't even have a bunch of guys coming to get you. Bella has that going on too.
Yeah.
So it's even worse.
Well, it's probably the most accurate thing about this whole thing is that Bella dies after, right?
That's true.
There's no way she should have been able to live through this. It's like, oh yeah, she dies after this from the incredible amount of blood loss and the fact that just Edward bit into her. Yeah, accurate.
Yeah, and the fact that it was just an unsterile room in someone's house.
Yeah.
Now, what would you tell...
maybe I'd give it a 3 up from a 2.
What would you tell the dad if you were Edward? Bella doesn't come back to life.
Oh, fuck.
What information are you going to give him?
Would you tell him about the baby?
No. Absolutely not.
No, you can't.
You can't because it's like, oh yeah, she was pregnant last week. You didn't know, but she has been very pregnant this whole time.
Well, Anna Kendrick would have felt vindicated.
That's true.
That's true. What a brat. Ugh. Ugh.
But also, she's right. Who else gets 100%. Married at 18?
Absolutely.
It's weird that her character pivots to jealous. It really seems like I should have been the one to marry Edward. It's like, why?
Yeah,
why?
Honestly,
in the first movie, she didn't really sing that into him. She acknowledged that he's hot, but otherwise, she's just like, yeah, he's kind of weird. And when he's into Bella, she helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where the romance is going for these characters, but I'd kind of like to see her and Jacob. Let's see what happens, They're both such wild cards. Maybe their energies will mesh in a way that would be fun.
The crazy thing to me, and about the next thing we're going to talk about, is they do set up what seems like it might be a romance for Jacob, where there's the other werewolf who's like, yeah, my boyfriend imprinted on someone else, and now they're together, and I'm just like his ex who's still hanging around, and it sucks. And it's like, another person who's having trouble getting over someone that they loved, but someone else is their true love. It sounds like a relatable experience, Jacob. Maybe the two of you could bond over that. And the answer is no, they never do.
Yeah. It is funny how this movie, like you were saying on IMDb, is about the werewolves. It's not, but that's what the movie thinks it is. And they have no characterization whatsoever outside of really basic facts about how tall they are, how old they are, and which ones are imprinted on which other ones. They're really
which
like
laws
a
are
mass
absolute.
of dogs. There's nothing to them. I love this. But yeah, wait. Now that you mention it, because I spun the wheel, we got to the last thing on the wheel. The rest of the podcast is us talking about imprinting. It's their most absolute law. So
that was the line, by the way, where Michelle just burst out laughing.
Oh, me too. It was I had to, because I had forgotten about the notes. I had to open up notes on my phone and type that exact sentence because I was like, that's insane. What is this whole fucking thing? Where did this come from? Is this a real thing? Is this a
imprinting is a real
thing? Is this just a dog thing? What are we
doing?
Wait,
hold on. What do you mean by imprinting is a real thing?
Isn't that a real thing, or like birds, whatever? The first whatever they see, that's you're my caregiver.
I think that's a myth, but I feel like there's some version of that's true.
I thought that was a thing with birds.
So I've heard that about like ducks specifically. I feel like that gets brought up a lot, but I think that is a an old wives' tale. But I think it's based on something. I think there's a some version of that in the animal kingdom. Let me see. I'm going to Google it. But
is imprinting real, or did Twilight make it up?
Maybe it is a real thing. I don't know. Encyclopedia Britannica seems to think it's real.
So I think it exists, but it's not like a magic thing where you look at someone and you're instantly like, that's my mom. It's just a word for the process of like, learning who your caregiver is and forming a special relationship with them.
It's not an absolute law.
Yeah.
So,
oh man,
yeah, but also it does. Now it does seem like this is a thing. Maybe I got the old wives' tale part confused with that thing where, like, if a bird smells you on it, it will throw its baby away. That I'm pretty sure is what I confused it with. Yeah, but yeah, it seems like you could do that with geese and stuff. Domestic chickens was first reported in Chickens by Sir Thomas More in 1516. Some would say the Joe Rogan of the 1516s. And it was amateur biologist Douglas Spalding found it. Yeah, it seems like it's like a bird thing mostly. I don't know why it's these guys.
It's a bird thing, and it's a thing that happens when you are very young.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that happens later in life where you just see a person and you're like, well, that's my wife.
That's a great point. These wolves operate, it's like you hit us, at just some point, it can happen any day. You'll just imprint on someone and it's like them forever.
So this
absolute law.
So this is something that the wolves do actively to the vampires?
Well, not the vampires.
To other people, but in this case, the vampire baby?
That just so happens.
I mean, it seems like it's not a process they can control. It's just something that happens.
So if you have a werewolf in the delivery room and your baby gets born, you're not a werewolf, none of that, not even a vampire, the werewolf will still imprint on the baby?
If that is who they're supposed to imprint on, yes.
Like, so supposed to. What do we mean by that?
I don't know. There's some measure of, like, destiny or whatever in this because it seems very... I don't know. I mean, if it works on them, I guess. I don't know if it's supposed to be a fully biological function and it's just like the pheromones or whatever. Or what. I don't understand this. I didn't do my research on this because I didn't think it was as fun to research as vampire sex.
I mean, fair. So to be clear, what happens is that Jacob sees the baby and imprints onto it.
And what this means is, and here's where I say there's some kind of destiny stuff about it. He has visions of the future where he sees, like, unfortunately, not even an adult Renesmee. It's like a teenage Renesmee.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is the person I will love for the rest of my life. So it seems to give you some ability to see the future, which I guess exists because the sister can do that.
Right, yeah.
It does feel like a whole lot of bullshit, though.
So, okay. So I looked up something else. So there's sexual imprinting is the thing we can Google.
Right. That is a thing geese do, or in some other birds.
Yeah.
But again, that's a young age thing. That's like it's you could analogize it to an arranged marriage. It's like two young geese see each other and they're like, all right, that's going to be my mating partner later in life. And then when they're adults, they do mate with that goose.
So not quite. At least that's not what this one's talking about. The way I'm reading this, male zebra finches, and I'll just read the page and kind of go into it, appear to prefer mates with the appearance of the female bird that raised them rather than their birth parent when they are different. So these birds will be, if they get dropped from the nest or raised by a sparrow, they will be attracted to sparrows.
I mean,
that's just the zebra finches.
Just the same thing as humans.
Exactly.
Ayo.
It's all that sparrow stuff. But yeah, there's a, what is this though? Like, where did this come from?
Like, why is this in the movie?
Yeah.
I guess it was the only thing she could think of to solve the conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Was to...
That's true. Because it gets him out of a hole as being the most sacred law.
Most absolute law.
Most absolute law.
And it gives this guy a reason to still be in the movie, because we're done with Jacob after this point, unless the baby is secretly his wife. Then we probably have to keep him around. But
yeah, that was the out. All right.
To be clear,
what if
when he imprints on her, he is approaching the baby to kill her.
Yes.
That is true.
Which makes it even more wild.
Yeah, and it's really awful.
Yeah, I mean,
really bad.
Yeah, we're talking about, imagine if, like, let's even ignore all the creepy stuff Jacob has done in his life. Let's just ignore all of that.
But I'll try.
Like, give him a blank slate on this. He doesn't deserve it, but let's give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if you had a kid and your, like, ex or even just, like, your friend came by and was like, hey, I just had a vision of the future. I'm going to marry your daughter one day. This isn't me like being poetic. I mean, I'm literally going to do it. I'm thinking about marrying her right now.
I mean, I do think that's what Ron DeSantis thinks happens
Oh
a lot of the time. Because this really is ultimate endgame grooming. Like, it's...
No, Nando. It's only grooming if a child learns that a gay person exists. Everything else is just good Christian values.
Well, or Mormon values specifically in this case, because they're then what? Like, I guess with this, it's just like so weird. It comes out of nowhere. I do think as a plot device, we all knew it was coming because we've talked about it before.
Because it's
and it
so
is something that makes it into the
that it's something that comes up in pretty much any discussion of people being like, Twilight is weird.
But I would have such a hard time if I had never heard of this and it came up in the movie 2 or 3 times and then it happened, figuring out what this was. Like,
I couldn't imagine being a person who doesn't know this is going to happen and then see it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Plot twist. Like, what?
I would have lost my damn mind.
It would have been one of those, like... It would be like what it's like when you have to explain to someone who doesn't know who Thanos is what happens at the end of Avengers. Like, you just have to be like, I don't think that didn't... He's not going to kiss the baby, right? And they're like, no, he is. It's very complicated, but it's a system of bullshit that only exists in the movie and with birds, I guess. But for some reason, it is cool and normal. And it's their most sacred valued law or whatever. Their most absolute law. Why is it their most absolute law?
Because that means the conflict can end.
Yeah.
Like, and that's...
Which is...
weird.
It has crazy implications. Like, what if you, like, imprint on, like, a serial killer?
I was going to say, I want to see the Lethal Weapon 2 version of this. A movie where a werewolf imprints on someone who's, like, a huge criminal, and they decide to just do big crimes against the werewolves constantly, and they keep having to be like, we can't arrest her. She's got imprinting immunity.
It's our most absolute law. What are we supposed to do? Yeah, like, yeah. And these guys just use it for, like, random kind of like, oh, yeah, they imprinted. Isn't that interesting? Like...
Yeah, go figure.
This is the first time, and he doesn't do it on purpose, but it is, like, almost defensive imprinting to, like, fix everything.
That would fuck you up, right? Your emotions, flip on a dime? We're like, I'm going to kill this baby. Oh my god, I'm going to marry this baby.
That's how a lot of characters in these movies work, so I feel like he's probably used to it. It's just some wild turn of... And also, like we said, this is Mr. Fly off the handle, so the fact that he's been written somewhat consistently for a couple of hours, something's got to give. He's got to do the worst possible thing.
It's also weird, because, like, I don't think this endears anyone to Jacob. Was, like, Stephanie Meyer like, oh man, maybe to get people to love Jacob, they'll have him fall in love with Bella's... like, Jacob's gonna be Bella and Edward's son-in-law. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the son-in-law that also really had a good thing going with the mom until Dad came in and ruined it all for him. And he won't stop bringing it up. He keeps crying about it at dinner. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I think the weirdest, like, and we know what's gonna happen. She's gonna grow up super fast, so she's an adult in the next one. Not like an adult, but she's like not an infant again. But, like, I do think it would be great if she didn't. And he was just carrying around the baby, like, showing it stuff. Like, this is where we're going to live, baby.
That's the worst of it.
That's what's happening.
Well, he helps raise her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is so much worse.
It's bad. This is the future liberals want. This is all the grooming you've been hearing about.
Oh, my God.
I just, like, yeah, it's so insane. And, like... Is this the wand ownership of the Twilight universe? It's a weird rule that comes out of left field to kind of wrap this whole thing up.
Now, I'll give her credit for one thing. Imprinting comes up a lot sooner than wand mastery.
That's true.
She actually does lay the imprinting groundwork, although not the absolute law part.
No.
So that means she had this in mind. She's like, I know what the people want.
I guess. I mean, I guess it's a way to solve the love triangle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's yeah. It is funny because it is almost like it's not like the consolation prize, but it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, Jacob can't get it. All right, well we'll toss him a baby or something, and that'll cheer him right up. Everything will be okay. It's just the worst. I think it would be okay.
Yeah.
Not okay. It wouldn't be okay. But it'd be a little bit less. It'd be a little bit more bearable if he did seem like a decent person throughout this movie, but he just gets worse and worse and worse for me. Like, by the end of it, they're all fighting. It's all kind of bullshit of, like, the wolves are tumbling into the vampires, and that whole thing stinks. But, like, I kind of wanted him to die there. It seemed like he should die. That'd be a good place for that.
He doesn't deserve the prize of Bella's daughter as
I mean, when you put it like that, of course.
We all know that men deserve to have relationships if they demonstrate any character growth at all, or even if they don't.
Yeah, and I mean, he put in all that work with Bella, so it's like not gonna go all to waste, obviously.
Yeah,
He's gotta get something out of this deal.
Yeah, come on. You can't, like, emotionally support someone during a difficult time and not get to date somebody because of that. That's just absurd.
He was just really creative with how he actually managed to make that happen. I respect it. Now I'm thinking about it. This is
when
the
you think
ultimate,
about it,
like,
really,
nice guy move.
God, when you think about it, Bella was really being the rude one, refusing to reward him for his behavior.
Has anyone ever talked to the writer about this and just been like, what was on your mind? You know?
Yeah, what did you think was going on?
'Cause-
Did you have a similar, like, real life scenario of this?
Yeah, like, I wonder, people must have asked her about it. And, like,
I'm sure.
it's such a weird thing. And, like, A, it's a weird choice, but B, it's used in a really weird way. But, apparently, a lot of this, I'm reading this now, it comes from the, in mythology, humans and dragons bond so tightly, if one of them dies, the other either suicides or goes mad, Meyer said. And that's kind of where this came from. And birds in that.
I'm going to need some cited sources on that dragon thing.
I mean, she's talking about...
It's in Rick and Morty.
Well, there's that, too, and that movie Dragonheart. But also, I think she's talking about a specific book that she read, but I can't find the name of the book. But this is an article I'm reading.
Aragon.
Right. But
That's a movie we could do.
one thing that's kind of funny, this is from the article, not only did it take a while for fans to come around on Imprinting, but even some members of the Twilight cast struggled. Taylor Lautner, who plays Jake, knew that he had to walk a fine line with conveying Imprinting, particularly since Mackenzie Foy, who played Renesmee, was only 9 at the time the movie was filmed.
Oh my god!
Oh,
Poor man.
Can you imagine being in... Because I wonder how these movies were made in, like, order, right? Because, like, was this a, like, Scott Pilgrim thing where they were filming it before the last book was written? And he was like, got this sick role. Yep, I get to be Jacob, the love, and I can't wait to see where this goes. And then he got this part, and he's like, I don't know about that, but I guess if it's what they say I have to do, it's what my guy's going to do. I don't know. But, how about this? Hold on. I got a quote. We were very lucky to have, this is Taylor Lautner. We were very lucky to have Stephanie Meyer, the author, on set with us for these last 2 Twilight movies, and I definitely had quite a few conversations with her. There was nobody better to ask about it than her, and she basically told me, stop overcomplicating it. Think here and now. That's all you really have to focus on. It's simple. She said that it's a lifelong bond between 2 people, and that's it. At this point, it's more of a brother-sister perspective thing. That's really all it is.
Oh, that's so much worse. Oh my god.
I like this. Great.
But when you think about it, that way, Stephanie Meyer is kind of a visionary. She could foresee the surge in popularity of stepmother, step-sibling porn videos.
Oh god.
I mean, maybe that's where this came from. That's why it's such a big thing. A lot of kids were raised on it.
Also, like, the first movie and the last book came out the same year, so he knew going in that this is what he would have to do.
Interesting. So strange. Well, I mean, the next one's going to be so much worse because the baby will be there. Little Mackenzie Foy, 9-year-old. Any other thoughts about this one before we move off of it? The finale. We got to talk about the post-credit scene.
I do want to say, actually, I was under the impression, because, like we said, we all knew this was going to happen. I was under the impression it was one of the last things to happen, and we don't see any of, like, Jacob and the baby interacting ever.
Oh, no.
Which I was like, thank God. But you're right, I hadn't even considered we are going to get some of that. And that's going to be the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, the baby ages up super fast. That part I do know because that's how this works, I guess. And it's a whole thing. But yeah, there's pictures. So I don't know how much they're actually on screen together, but I do have an actress for the baby who's 9. So pretty cool. It's like that movie Old where the beach makes you old.
Yeah.
Implications of that are also bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there is a post-credit scene for this movie. Also, all the, like we were saying, all the main characters crash into each other and then they stop. Bella comes back to life. Got big red eyes. She's a vampire now.
Yep.
But what is this post-credit scene? Diggins, can you describe it real quick?
So we go back to Italy, to the real Italian city of Volterra.
Ah.
I don't think they filmed there, but there is a real city called Volterra where she says the Volturi are.
I think they filmed in Atlanta. I think.
Well, this part obviously is not in Italy, but I mean the Italy parts are definitely not in Volterra.
This probably was Atlanta.
This probably was like a backlot in Hollywood. It's an entirely enclosed indoor set. Because we're in like the secret rock caverns where the Volturi live. And I guess a human woman
I don't know.
comes in.
Yeah, what's up with that?
With like a telegram for some reason.
It's how they communicate.
Or it's not a telegram because she wrote it down herself. I guess she answered the phone and took a message. I don't know. Anyway, she walks into the big chamber where the 3 Volturi men are, the 3 head Volturi, and is like, Carlisle's letting us know that there's a new member of his clan. And I'm like, does that mean Bella or Renesmee?
Great question. I don't know.
The movie doesn't answer.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
And they're like, very good, but you misspelled Carlisle. Guards, please kill this woman. Although actually they don't kill her down. They just like drag her off screaming. It's actually pretty disturbing when you think about it.
Classic off-screen death.
And she like delivers the note to them. They're all sitting in like a little crypt or whatever, and she knows she fucked up the name. It's a hard name. Right now, I don't know if I could spell Carlisle. And I know which part she messed up, but I already don't think I could do it. I'm gonna what do you guys? You guys go first and I'll see.
Diggins should go last because he's gonna get it right.
I'm absolutely certain I'm going to get it right.
Okay.
All right. Carlaisle.
Oh, see, I was gonna go Carl Isle. Just
Nando got it right. Carlisle.
Yeah.
Ah, damn.
It's a weird name, though. Not like a weird name, but it's one of those you don't run into too much and easy mistake to make. But that being said, she should have checked on her phone or something. Like, high stakes.
You see that like underground tomb chamber they're in? There's no way you get reception.
Well, where did she get the information then?
An old-timey landline that they have, probably.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, before you go, how do you spell Carlisle? I just want to make sure I get this right. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying she deserves to be dragged away screaming to her death. I'm just saying, it seems like she knew how much danger she was in. And,
Or you say, like, the leader of the Cullen clan.
Yeah.
Although,
the blonde guy.
Carlisle.
Blonde Dr. Man. You know him.
He also seems to imply that it's like, I don't know, whatever vampire mind control they use on her, like, just slowly degrades your brain. Because he's like, first goes the spelling, then the grammar.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess sometimes vampires do that. They have, like, little, you know.
Yeah. Other vampires do this sort of thing all the time. Have their like familiars or thralls. It's a staple of vampire fiction.
It's all the sexual stuff in it. All
Yeah.
the seduction. But I guess, do we know, does he have a superpower? Is that his superpower?
I don't remember.
I don't think we have one set for him. Also, I have no idea who these other 2 guys are. I guess they're
probably
also
in the
guys.
second one. I don't remember.
Yeah, but there's but yeah, it is weird that we don't know what they're talking about in that scene specifically.
Yeah, so he's like, the Carlisle's stronger. And the other one's like, well, that means it's all over, right? Because they made the human a vampire like we asked. And the head guy's like, this wasn't about one little human. Like that, he says like human, despite not only having like a vague British accent otherwise. It's so bizarre.
It's like the Futurama. What's your name?
Human.
Human.
Lieutenant Human, sir. But yeah, and then he says that, and he's like, Carlisle's got something that I want, and we're going to get it, or something.
Yeah.
And me in the audience is like, what are you talking about? This has never come up before. What does he have?
I don't know.
It's the baby, right? I think it's the baby.
I don't think he even knows the baby exists.
I think it has to be the baby because it can't be Bella, right?
Yeah.
He knows about Bella. He wanted her to be turned into a vampire. She is turned into a vampire. I don't know how he would know this, but I feel like that's what the message said. It's like, Bella's a vampire now, sick. And then he was like, that must mean she has a baby. Yeah, maybe read into it a little too far. I don't know.
Yeah, like, how would he know about the baby? That's my thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can see how the head of a vampire council would be interested in learning more about the first vampire baby ever born.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as I know, he does not know that happened.
Yeah, maybe he has like a cerebro power and he can sense other vampires or something. Someone's bound to have that one. I don't know.
I mean, it seems like everyone has every power,
Well,
so...
Alice is the one with the future-telling powers, so...
Yeah.
Even if... He says it was never about Bella, so, like, how would he have known that was going to happen, even if he knows it happened now?
Okay, here's my best guess. He felt the disturbance in the Force. He's like, there's a vampire baby. Not sure what's going on there. Gets the note, hey, Bella's in the clan. Now it's like, oh, I get it. That's what's going on. It's her baby. Let's go kill her.
Maybe Edward's not really the dad. Vampires' venom can't be semen, and like Palpatine or Plagueis, whoever you believe, depending on the theory, used the Force to impregnate Bella.
Somehow Renesmee has returned. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I think that's probably it. The vampire
They're going to
Force.
ask her, it's like, what's your name? My name is Renesmee Swan. Whatever.
Cullen.
Yeah.
We're a good Christian household, TJ. Obviously, the woman erases her identity forever and takes on the man's.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to figure out what the closest to the Star Wars thing was, but I guess it would just be like, I'm Cullen.
Could you imagine what sort of monster would have his wife change her name for him?
What a
right?
monster.
Who does that?
Speaking of monsters, the next movie is going to be good because these guys are in it. He's in it one real quick bit in a weird bad dream, which we didn't really talk about because it's not that important. But Bella has a dream where she goes to the wedding and just the surprise is that he's there. He's like, hey, remember me? I'm pretty fun. And we're like, you are pretty fun. Let's instead watch the Hollister models for 2 hours and then we'll go talk to you later. Like, honestly, it's like, don't show that to us if we have to not do it. Not
and if
fair.
it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Everybody has visions all the time. It's pretty cool, actually. So, yeah, I think this is definitely my least favorite one the more I think about it. I think it's just been diminishing returns since the start.
Yep.
I don't think
it was
the
like half-decent first movie and downhill from there.
The first movie had like a charm in its simplicity and also its kind of corniness, whereas now it's so much plot. And the actors are better. I think most of them have, like, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart. You're seeing it, you know. But it's just, like, there's just so much nonsense to get through.
Yeah, too much chess.
Way
too much chess.
Basically, I watched the first one and was like, this will be fun. And we're here now where I'm a dried husk of a man.
Right.
Much like Bella as she's about to give birth.
Well, yeah, and if it was just chess, I'd be like, cool. That's like a rom-com kind of thing. I'd like to see what these characters do together in their spare time besides have sex and talk about how much they want to be vampires or not want the other one to be vampires. But
I think it's play chess. I think it's a lot of
chess. I
chess.
think it might be a lot of chess because, yeah, the action in these has never been that stellar and the lore is insane. So
the action has never been stellar, and they're clearly uninterested in having it in the story, but they keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. They know it's the rules for trailers and stuff. I get that.
Well, but I mean, also the books. She kept writing in, like, action plots and, like, dangers. And it's like, why? They're not very good, and you clearly don't care about them.
Maybe they're all like Battle of Five Armies, where in the book, Bella just, like, gets bonked on the head, and they tell her afterwards all the werewolves fought all the vampires. But then in the movies, we have to watch it because they hate us. I don't know.
It's so much worse than that. Do you know what, like, the final, like, plot beat of this is?
Oh, yeah. I know way more about the last book than about any of the rest of them. Movie.
I only know one thing about the last movie, but it's the big thing.
Yeah. It's just fucking incredible, man.
I know why people like it, and I know why people hate it. I think I'm going to be on the hate it side, but...
oh, my God.
I can't imagine liking it.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's the internet. You can kind of reason your way into any stance of liking or disliking a thing.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe it will finally cross the threshold of being so stupid that I think it's fun.
Maybe. Yeah. I do think this next one might be my favorite one, which is the weirdest part of all of this, is that we did first one good, second one worse, third one worse, fourth one worse, fifth one the best one yet. But
that's the usual franchise trajectory.
Yeah. Anything else about this one?
Nah, man.
Cool. I think I left it all on the field.
I think so too. All right. Well, then, would you guys like to get to our classic segment?
Yeah, might as well, right?
That.
DJ, you've been dying to recommend some things to the fine people.
Yeah.
What do you got?
DJ at the start of the podcast, before we started recording, was like, guys, I'm so hyped about my rec this week. I can't wait to share it with everyone as quickly as possible.
Yeah, all things I definitely said. So, yeah, I got, like, one thing to recommend, and it's been going on, like, a theme, which is, like, stuff I recommend. But
That's the theme is stuff DJ recommends. That's the theme to DJ's recommendations.
Wait, sorry. Like, theme being, like, half-decent documentaries on Netflix. I fixed it. Yeah. You guys familiar with Madoff, the Monster of Wall Street?
I mean,
Actually,
I saw
I
the thing, but I haven't watched it. Is it any good?
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. Like, okay, so it's about, like, the Bernie Madoff, like, scam, like, whatever, like, thing you classify that as. But, like, I didn't know much about it, but, like, it really just goes into the thing of scammers be scamming. And it's like, oh, this guy was just, like, grifting from the beginning, but he presented it in, like, well, he hid the grifts and, like, presented off as, like, I'm a nice benefactor. Like, I guess a more well put together, like, Sam Bankman-Fried. And it allowed him to do a lot of crimes. It's just these people, the end game is crimes. What can enable them to do the most crimes? And that's the thing they're going to do. That's, like, all you need to figure out about these people. Again, it's like Netflix can't help themselves. It's, like, too long. It's, like, 4 episodes. It only needs to be 3. But it's, like, it's fine. Like, it doesn't, like, you know, it's still good. It's just like this could have been shorter. But I still enjoyed it just because it's a topic that I knew like 1% about, and then getting to deep dive on that's like pretty good. So if you're looking for another Netflix documentary to watch, it's Madoff, the Monster of Wall Street.
Could you imagine if Bernie Madoff had been born a little bit later and he got to come up in the crypto world?
Oh my god!
Oh, he's so mad.
He would have been so successful, and there would still be people arguing that he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
That would be so funny. Oh my god! Yeah. I need that now. I need like the Madoff coin and like all that shit. Madoff NFTs. I want to see his apes. Did you guys see this was the 1-year anniversary of the apes moment?
Of all my apes gone?
Of the Jimmy Fallon ape tape. That was a year ago.
It's been a year?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Did you see that they released a quote unquote video game?
No, did they really? Oh no.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Take a wild guess.
They got one right?
Yep, that's it. The
Good
thing
for
is
them.
good.
Nice.
No, it's extremely bad.
Yeah, it seems pretty rough, I would imagine. But yeah, cool.
That's all I got.
Diggins, you have anything to recommend?
I do, yeah. I went to see, when movie theaters sometimes they show old movies for like a couple time slots. You go watch those. I did one of those to go see a classic that I've been meaning to watch for a while and had never gotten around to. Roman Holiday.
Oh.
If you're not familiar, Roman Holiday is the first film starring Audrey Hepburn.
Oh.
It's about, she is the princess of an unnamed country doing a goodwill tour of Europe. And while she's in Rome, she kind of like sneaks away for a bit because she finds the like strictly regimented and scheduled life of a princess to be suffocating and overwhelming.
Don't we all?
She sneaks off for a bit when they're in Rome, and she ends up meeting Gregory Peck, who is a reporter who is supposed to interview her the next day. But he doesn't realize it's her at first. And then when she turns up missing and everything, he decides that he's going to pretend to not be a reporter and hang around with her all day so that he can publish an exclusive expose on Princess Anne. So from there, it's honestly like a very, very fun and charming rom-com where it's like the two of them spending this day together and falling in love. And it is so easy to see how Audrey Hepburn became a star because she is just like effortlessly charismatic. She is so fun to watch. Her and Gregory Peck have incredible chemistry. And Nando, I think that this movie is a great case study in the thing you and I say about how movies aren't horny enough anymore.
Ugh, they never are.
Because it's like,
get it together.
Yeah, but the thing about that, I feel like sometimes people hear us say that and we're like, we want more boobs in movies. And like, that's not it. Because this is a movie from...
It's not all
Don't
of
rule
it.
everything out.
Listen, I'm not saying you can't do that or that that's bad. I'm just saying that's not exactly what we mean, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Anyway.
You're on
what
thin
you
ice,
think,
counselor.
buddy.
Watch yourself.
My point is, obviously, it's a movie from like the 50s. So, there's nary an ankle to be seen. But at the same time, like, we have scenes of Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn together where they're, like, barely restraining from themselves from fucking on the floor right now.
Wow.
And, like, you can tell, like, that is the subtext of this scene, is they want each other so bad. And, like, that's the kind of thing we don't get anymore, you know?
Yeah.
There's no real kind of, like, tension like that. Either it's beautiful people who are already doing it, or there's nothing. There's never that, like, desire.
That's a good point. This is the movie
Great point, Diggins.
What's her name? Jennifer Coolidge keeps talking about in the White Lotus, I think. Probably.
Is it?
I think she talks about being Audrey Hepburn and being on a Vespa scooter. I'm looking at the poster.
Oh yeah, that is Roman Holiday. There's a landmark scene where she drives a Vespa.
So that's cool.
It's a good
that
scene.
And Luca, big Vespa movies.
But yeah, honestly, it is like a really, really good, like, classic rom-com. If you are into those kinds of things, I think it's totally worth watching. What about you, Nando? Do you have anything to recommend?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Like I said, I think I said last week, I'm getting back into Party Down. Still love it. Great show. So funny. But also, and then the new season's coming back soon. So cannot recommend that enough. I have been reading comics for book club this month. We did the new Ant-Man comic by Al Ewing because we were all kind of like, I don't really know what Ant-Man's deal is. Like, should I be excited about Ant-Man? And I mean, like, we know his deal, but it's like, why do people like this guy, kind of? What's the seminal Ant-Man comic? And there's some comics he's in that are important.
The one where he slaps his wife.
The one where he backhands Jane? Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's that. There's some memorable things he's done. You know, like, he made Ultron. He went crazy for a while. He merged with Ultron for a while. He's gone over, like, 15 different aliases. He loves to do that. But in terms of, like, what's the vision or the, you know, that's a bad example. But, like, what's his one story that's, like, a really good one? Al Ewing just wrote one called Ant-Man. It's 4 issues, and it's all on Marvel's, like, app now, so it's easy to find. And it's just the 4 Ant-Men that have existed in the comics, which is, obviously, Hank Pym, Scott Lang, Eric O'Grady, the irredeemable Ant-Man, the one who's a perv and steals the thing, and then a 4th one who's new from the future who we've never heard of before. And each book, or each issue is from one of their stories, so it's like, what's he been up to? Like, and I guess it's really fun because it's a book that, and I love it when books do this, like, plays the like the genre up a lot. So it's like, we watch this story play out, and like the Hank Pym book looks like it came from the 60s, and everybody talks like the 60s. The Eric O'Grady book looks very much like that 2000s Robert Kirkman kind of style from then. And it's just, I don't know, it's a really good homage to those characters. And it does make you kind of go like, okay, I see what this guy's deal is and why he's stuck around in it, like, you know, what's the word? Kind of by the grace of, like, God. And, you know, he's not that interesting of a character when you really get down to it, but he's kind of fun and done a lot of weird stuff. So, fun book, 4 issues on Marvel Unlimited. Definitely recommend. Besides that, like, God, I don't know. I'm excited tonight because I am one of 8 people on planet Earth who has Peacock to watch the new Natasha Lyonne show. That looks like fun. Yeah. But I can't recommend it yet, but nice. I probably will eventually.
I probably will also.
Yeah, looks pretty solid. Yeah. What are you guys thinking about next week? Don't say it. The next one of these, right? Is that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know why we're not saying it, but yeah.
We have to do more Twilight. Oh, no. Suspension. It's just, the more I think about it, the less I want to do it. But yeah, it's going to be more Twilight. Obviously not thrilled, but hey, maybe it'll be good this time.
Maybe we could delay and talk about something else again. Not like delay a podcast and move it a week, like where we just talked about the Oscars for 25 minutes. Maybe there'll be some big news that could eat up the oxygen of a lot of the runtime.
You know what? To be fair, that might happen because James Gunn has said, and he said this, confirmed it today, he's going to release his DC plan, which is probably only going to be like kind of, here's
get the fuck out. There's no way.
By the end of January. And there's 6 more days of January or something. So, like, it's coming.
I refuse to believe this. There's no way.
I mean, he said on Twitter, he's like, today, he's going to do it. I think he's probably not going to do it tomorrow because that's when the new Shazam trailer comes out. Or maybe he will because it seems like that movie is a secret movie that they can't promote. So, you know, it would be funny if they kind of undercut it by saying we're going to do a Superman movie. But assuming that doesn't happen... Or assuming it doesn't happen then, it'll probably be next Monday, maybe like the 30th. So We could talk about that. I don't know.
I mean, the plan's going to be... all right, let me guess. It's going to be Suicide Squad 2, Harley Quinn 3, 4, 5, 6, Superman with probably Ezra Miller, I guess. They'll probably cast them as Superman.
You forgot about the Ayer cut. I feel like this is the right time.
Oh, the Ayer, yeah. Ayer cut's coming. And then second Snyder cut for Justice League.
He gets another shot.
That's my guess.
We gave him another $90 million. See if you could figure it out this time, Zach. No, you know what? It's going to be that Rebel Moon movie he's making on Netflix. They're going to fold that into the DC cinematic universe somehow.
Oh, God.
Just going to build around it. I guess one of them's the Green Lantern. I don't know. Yeah. DJ, do you have anything you want to plug to find people?
Yeah, Roses and Rejections. We had 2 episodes this week. 2 episodes. Had one covering like Finale Circle. Just talked about some other shows that we had on the docket that we wanted to get out before Bachelor. And then we had our Bachelor like episode 1 show. I think we're back to basics with Bachelor, which is nice. I think like less crazy, just gonna be like a normal like regular season of The Bachelor, which I'm down with. Night 1 was good, so I'm actually somewhat looking forward to this season. I think they got a good cast of women, so we cover all that stuff. So yeah,
nice. Diggins, what about you? Anything to plug?
Just my usual stuff: newsletter, stream, etc., etc. You've all heard it before. What about you, Nando?
Videos and stuff. You know what? My Deadpool pitch will probably be out before the next podcast comes out, so that will be on YouTube. And then my hey, what happened at the end of the Batman? I didn't like it. Movie will be on Nebula probably around the same time. It's more complicated than that, but it's just kind of looking at that movie. And it's a very important movie. That's why it got 1 Oscar nomination. Just kidding. Might have gotten 2. I can't remember. Either way, those will be out. Besides that, I don't know. Follow me on Twitter. Then you'll know what I'm doing. And you can find me. I'm at NandoVMovies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Woohoo!
Bye. We love you.